Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 207, as I am seething with anger, as our program that we record every weekend has decided. I have a nice little template set up, long story short, so that I can just open it up. Anyways, all of the files are gone, so if there's not the usual little bits of music in between segments this week, you'll know why, because I'm angry, much anger. But anyways, I think it's up and running now, so hopefully you can hear us. We're back down in the basement. It is July 5th, 2024, recording a day early, kind of in the morning as well, which is rare for us because you have plans.
Yeah.
Are those plans to get eaten by mosquitoes again?
And I look like a diseased child.
It's not showing up on camera, but this man.
It's all over here, both my ankles and like.
Talk in your microphone. That's what it's there for.
This is horrible.
Yeah, I was saying in my life, I think you have more
Also my back.
More mosquito bites right now than I have in my whole life combined.
Probably. Like, I think I might have entered triple digits.
And so it's your mother's fault because mosquitoes love her and don't really care about me too much. So I think
that's on me for going out late. But
I think it's her. Yeah, you were out late, not far from like some trees and whatnot. So
yeah,
you got destroyed.
Too close in proximity to trees. That's on me.
Yeah, and I see the CM Punk X's are still on your hand.
Yeah,
So last night we went to, I don't know, are we allowed to talk about it? We weren't allowed to have phones in there.
There's no NDA, so.
True, I did not sign an NDA. We were at, what was it, Sami Zayn and Friends comedy show, right?
Yeah.
Had no idea what to expect down on the Danforth in Toronto. So
we were like at the front row of a balcony, though. That was perfect.
Yeah, we were mezzanine row 1, which was nice. Other than the zero leg room, like it couldn't have been much longer before I needed to get up and walk around.
Yeah, but I was willing to tolerate that just because I liked the spot we were in.
It was a great spot. Found free parking after a little bit of a battle. Because it was the busiest place on earth on a Thursday night for some reason. Makes no sense.
Because the city's stupid.
But we didn't really have any idea what to expect, right? So pretty much a 2-hour show, maybe a bit longer. I feel like we got out about 10:30.
I think it also started a little late, though.
It did, for sure. Although nobody was allowed to know what time it was unless you had a watch. So I think it was obviously being recorded by WWE. I don't know if it's going on Netflix or whatever. But so we had no idea what it was. It was Sami doing a set to start, right? Like doing a by himself. And I'm like, oh God, it can't be 2 hours of this. Because he's, so I would say the whole night, was it funny? I don't know, funny, but amusing and entertaining, yes.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, right? So
it was a good show.
So he spoke for a while, did a bit of his comedy bit, mostly centered around like agreeing to do this and being super stressed about it and not having any jokes and not being funny and whatever, right? So then I think a friend of his from Kim's Convenience, right? A popular Canadian show, came out with his improv partner and they did a bunch of things where
they had like a bunch of wrestling catchphrases on cards and they would like intersperse it into their skit, which that was pretty good.
As they're doing a scene, they're picking up these pieces of
and
paper
they have to like work them in
and work in the lines.
I like that. That was
so yeah, it was funny. Then I think it was Bailey came out
Bailey
next.
And Sami had a little while, and then there was like the fan that came on stage, and then there was
that was probably my favorite bit.
That was a good bit. Like
I thought Trish Stratus was
pretty good too. Yeah, Trish came out. Cody was out for a while, which was like I liked parts of it, but it was like the Cody was a little long for me,
and he kind of overshadowed Sami, unfortunately,
a little bit,
which Sami even admitted.
Yeah,
but I also like that Cody was sort of a little self-deprecating, admitting that he's not like the best worker in ring. He was like, I'm a B+ kind of thing. And my other favorite thing was not favorite, but that I liked was Sami really putting over Pac, right? By saying it's one of his best friends. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world that doesn't get enough respect. So
Neville came up.
If you're a regular, you know, we agree with that opinion already. So pretty fun night overall, right?
I liked it.
$6 water was delicious. The best water out of a cardboard box that I've ever out of a
You pay for the box.
Tetra Pak, yeah.
You're paying for taking it out of a non-cylindrical shape.
Yeah. So bit of a late night. We made it home around midnight last night.
Yeah, a little after.
But it was very, very fun. Did you want to touch on? Oh, I always feel the need to say this. If you're new listening, there are timestamps. You can jump past us bantering. We will eventually, we're going to have to talk about Forbidden Door because we haven't yet. And then we'll be reviewing AEW Dynamite, NXT, Raw, anything else that we sort of talk about. I didn't watch TNA again. I tried to get caught up on last week's, but it's just not grabbing me. And since I've sort of replaced it with Raw and I'm mostly enjoying Raw, TNA, I'm just going to be getting highlights. So instead, I've included some
Would you say it's faded away and classified itself as obsolete?
Not quite, but it's getting to that point, maybe. Acolyte, we always talk about Star Wars' latest offering.
Following up after
your favorite episode of anything
the best
ever.
episode, yeah. it was definitely a slower
Little
paced
letdown.
one. Little bit, but at the same time, I really enjoy. But I really enjoy Manny Jacinto's work as Chimere. I think he's really carrying right now. I do like Soul too, but
Good Canadian boy, as it
this-
turns out.
who Chimere?
The guy you like, the young guy. Yeah.
That's good because I like him a lot. It felt like more of a setup for next week. Like it's like we were kind of building up to episode 5. It dropped a lot on us.
Yes.
And then now it's like this feels like to bridge the gap between this and what'll be like kind of the 2 last episodes.
Right.
So I like parts of it. It was a little slow. And like the actress who plays the twins, like she's not bad, but sometimes it's a little.
She's not the best.
She's not.
She
the
doesn't
best,
stand
you know what
out,
I mean?
but she's fine.
So, which sucks because she's like the main character.
She
And
is it.
I feel
yeah.
like the 2 people she's opposite against, which is Chimere and Soul, are easily my 2 favorite characters.
I would agree.
In that order.
They're the most interesting to me.
And yeah, so like I liked it. I like parts of it. I liked Chimere talking about the dark side because his view on it is a lot more interesting.
Nuanced.
Nuanced, yeah, and not because the Jedi are just like die.
Right.
So I liked it a lot. It wasn't as action packed, and I'm sure people go nuts about him going skinny dipping.
Yeah. What'd you say it was a thirst trap or something like that?
Almost definitely, because like people still talk about Ben Swolo from Last Jedi when Kylo Ren was shirtless.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, and I kept calling him because I've seen people when he had his helmet on, they call him either Smiler Ren or Darth Teefs.
Yeah.
So I like calling him Darth Teefs.
And it looks like they're sort of cliffhanging us on the truth of the fire with Saul and May. Looks like they're going to sort of broach that topic coming up.
And then also Osha trying on the
helmet.
Cortosis helmet, yeah. Which
is a sensory deprivation.
In addition to the shorting out the lightsabers.
Right.
Which I think is interesting because I know the whole lightsaber shorting out thing is like, because it's a thing from Legends stuff. So, but the sensory thing is a new thing that they are adding.
I was nervous they were going with a romance angle, which they
kind
of walked up to, and I'm like, this is not what Star Wars is about.
That can't be what it is. I don't think that's what it was, but it did look like that at times. Just because
I don't think it is either.
Just because they're that close, but yeah, I don't think that could possibly be the case.
I hope not.
But no, I'm looking forward to next week. I hope, because I feel like it has to go to where the Jedi killed the witches. There's no other possible way it can go. And then I don't know if I talked to you about this, but because we also in this episode had bits of Vanestra, the green lady.
The green lady.
The bald green lady.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She was
with
in there
the markings on her head.
With the light whip.
Yep.
That was weird. Based on the scars on his back, she's 100% Chimere's Jedi Master who like kicked him to the curb for whatever reason. And that's the scar, because that's an odd scar for lightsabers to have, and like the light whip you could like get like with it, but not necessarily penetrate it.
Because he's got those marks on his back that she was like, "What are those?"
Pretty wicked, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and
the lightsaber whip is pretty dope.
Yeah, there's a bit of that in Clone Wars, but it was used by these slave masters, and it wasn't quite the same too, because like it would just kind of shock people.
Yeah,
but like to show that, because all she did was cut a bug with that, right? Like one of the bugs that we saw in last week. To only show it there. It's like a Chekhov's gun kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to circle back.
It has to come back, and like between that and like she's just there's something off about her.
Okay.
Right? Like there's just something in the way she talks, and like she's trying to hide everything.
Sounds like you're right.
Like, and because I think part of the Jedi thing is like it's like the politician thing. We can't erode the people's trust in us, right? But I think also if she has a hand, if she's the reason Chimere left and kind of went dark, or she pushed him farther in some manner, right?
Yeah.
Then her hands, there's blood on her hands in this situation.
Because now there's a bunch of Jedis that got slaughtered,
right? So then there's even more reason for her to want to cover it up if she knows it all, right?
And that would explain why she's personally invested in doing it herself.
Exactly, yeah. And I thought an interesting narrative was that the one Jedi thought Soul killed everybody, because that would be a sad way to go, because no way he would. But there's a lot of interesting things. I feel like they've been in this sweet spot where there's interesting, like kind of not necessarily plot twists, but like reveals and stuff, where it's been kind of predictable, but not too predictable. Like predictable, where I'm like,
good. I'm enjoying it.
I'm happy that I'm right finally.
And there's cool new characters, and I don't know.
And it's something that's completely removed from the usual Star Wars chronology. Like I feel like everything more or less centers around the Skywalkers in some.
No, I'm enjoying it. I like the story they're telling.
I do like that's completely attached from everything. So yeah, it's been it kind of like it needed some time to find its footing, but it's been solid.
You're rocking a very old Undisputed Era shirt today.
I thought I'd go over it kind of like goes because there's yellow on the top of my shirt, so like kind of like just the bright colors.
And I've got my Deonna Purrazzo on.
So yeah, I went retro on.
And then I know this isn't great if you're listening on audio and not the video portion, but you've got all of the participants in the Money in the Bank.
We do have all. They're all outdated though, because it's American Alpha, Chad Gable, Bloodline, Jey Uso.
For the video,
baseball pants on Andrade, and then like Drew McIntyre in like 2018.
Your favorite pants.
But yeah.
And then I've got Priest and Rollins sitting here on my audio interface.
I do have an accurate Rollins head because I swapped on. I got another white Rollins because, as you know, we need
to swap the heads.
We need to get all the white Rollins in. But yeah, so we'll talk about that.
We will get to that for
and
sure.
Heatwave, which will be in attendance for.
Yeah, so some previews, predictions for Heatwave that we're going to. We'll talk about Money in the Bank. We should probably just get into it, don't you think?
I think so.
All right, let's do that now. Again, there might not be the normal music in between because frustration is growing, but our first segment we'll deal with is talking about some wrestling news and rumors. So a little more fighting technology. This is going well. I don't think there's going to be any sounds on this other than our voices because it doesn't work anymore for some reason. Only have done it for hundreds of episodes, but not today.
Only almost 4 years.
Right. Anyways.
We'll be reaching 4 years soon.
We will be. That's crazy. Ratings. NXT, 542,000 viewers, down 11.3%. 0.15 in the key demo, down 16.7. Not good numbers for them. The lowest audience total and second lowest demo rating for the show since July 4th of last year. So that's a year.
Okay, so that's actually valid.
That is actually relevant. I don't know ratings for Dynamite, I believe, due to the holiday. What was that? Yesterday, right? Happy July 4th to...
Or holiday on Monday?
American
Canada
Friends, whenever they do it down there. I don't know.
Oh, wait, because that wouldn't matter for them. Never mind.
No, it would be... Our holidays don't matter to them. So I don't have the ratings for that. If I remember, I'll circle back around to it next week and give you 2 weeks worth of Dynamite. I don't have a ton of news.
I'll start off with a fun one. Another reason to love Mr. Ospreay. Feels like a Danielson-esque story, but because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, were kind of expecting Swerve Ospreay at All In, right?
Yeah.
But they did at Forbidden Door. Apparently, All In was never planned. They have lined up different opponents, but Ospreay presented the idea to do this at Forbidden Door because he kind of got tired of a lot of people viewing Swerve as a placeholder for him to win the title. So he approached the idea of losing to Swerve at Forbidden Door to kind of put that away.
It doesn't hurt him.
And set an example that this needs to be a team effort for them to succeed.
Good for him. That's awesome.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Sounds like he's from the Danielson school.
That's what I was thinking, right? Like that. I thought that was kind of cool, and like that match was pretty crazy. So
yeah, we'll get to that, and
that it is a big win for Swerve because I was saying like whoever beats Ospreay is a big deal. It
really solidifies his title reign. Honestly, does.
So I think mission accomplished. For sure.
Agree. So I'll put it in the news because I didn't watch it. The field for TNA Slammiversary World Title match is set. I think they had a couple more of the qualifiers on the weekly show this week that I didn't catch. So it's obviously Moose defending, and you've got Alexander Kazarian.
Wait, he beat Santana?
Apparently.
I thought Santana was a shoo-in for that.
You would think. Ziggler.
That is what I would think.
Hendry. Macklin.
Hendry wins, I say. You got to capitalize on that popularity.
That's what I'm saying, because he's a big deal right now, right? And he had exposure in WWE, and he kind of went viral or whatever. So I
think you have to do that right now.
And really,
what is Moose doing?
They've gone all in with this. What's the group called?
The System.
Again? The System. It feels like a B show, like faction kind of thing, right?
Not quite the corporation, but like.
So I'm fine with them pulling the plug on that, but I'm not sure they will because it's like the center of everything is that group. They're trying to make it like Bloodline.
Then you start chopping it down. You get like
Judgment Day.
Give ABC the tag titles back if you don't have anyone else.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope it's Hendry, and that makes sense to me, but I'm not convinced it will be.
Or you have Alexander win that title, and then have Paige win the NXT title, and you have the North for everything.
There you go. North rule everything.
Yeah.
What else you have?
Speaking of TNA, apparently Mustafa Ali was backstage at Dynamite Beach Break.
Yeah. And I was telling you, I was watching, I don't know if they need to pick him up, but he's awesome. I was watching, and I think he I was trying to catch up on TNA from last week, and he pulled a fan over the barricade and started beating on him. And I think it was an indie wrestler that we've seen and enjoyed a bunch. So if it was Von Vertigo, good for him. I don't know if it was or not, but.
It wouldn't surprise me considering they just signed the Smash tag guys.
True. So. And he's a regular Smash competitor. So it looked like him, but I couldn't quite tell because he was just getting beaten on the floor, basically. It was hard to see. Did you see who is officially going to be on Ring of Honor from WWE? A tag team? I watched the vignette that aired this week, I think. Did you watch it?
I saw a bit of it. I didn't watch it.
So it is Maximum Male Models, of all people, have been apparently signed.
That's why they've been backstage at AEW, to go to ROH.
To go to Ring of Honor. So I watched the vignette. So Mace is going by Mason Madden, because Mace was a WWE
Dio Madden.
And Mansoor is still Mansoor, because I think that's him.
Yeah, he was Mansoor, then he was Mansoor.
Right. So I watched the vignette, and did you hear? I swear they called Mansoor, one of his nicknames was the Iron Sheik. And then for Mason Madden, it was the Mahogany Hunk.
Yeah.
So interesting, very, very much leaning into the modeling stuff. Like the whole vignette was their models sort of thing. So
I mean, I guess. ROH
I don't know,
nothing,
man.
So I don't care.
ROH is a non-thing, so why are you signing people to it unless you're hoping like they dominate or catch fire there and you can move them to AEW? I don't know. Interesting signing, I thought.
I don't think you can catch fire and move to AEW, because why is Athena still there?
Right? Because she's forgotten. She should be not on there. She's so good and actually found her character, and she's wasting away there. Mansoor, I thought, was pretty good in ring. Mace,
okay.
Not. I didn't think.
I hated him on commentary, and I don't remember why.
You did. He only did that for a minute, right?
Basically. Yeah, he got F5s to an announce table.
Right. So, anyways, good for them, I guess.
Cool.
We won't see them ever because we don't watch ROH, but they're there. They exist.
Allegedly.
Yep.
Last thing I had was the Creed brothers are announced for the next Bloodsport. Baszler's also returning.
I think. Really?
But
Creeds?
Yeah, both Creeds are going for Bloodsport. I think 11.
Interesting. Again, I don't love it. It's too trying to make fake wrestling look really real. It's not. I don't know. I like it in matches and stuff, but the finishes of that, it didn't really grab me. Another thing I had was the finals are set for the G1 Climax qualifier, right? Because there's one spot in each block. So officially will be the first G1 without Tanahashi since 2001,
which is crazy.
That's wild.
But I saw something like him and Ishii are kind of like they can't really do that whole thing now. You know what I mean?
And after watching him on Forbidden Door, I would say no, he doesn't need to wrestle anymore. So I think he's
especially
lost.
not like repeated times at high levels for a month.
He can't.
Yeah,
I don't think he can.
And he's president, so like he's got other things to do. It's understandable.
He's still visible,
but still, it's crazy that like
23 years or whatever.
Yeah, quite literally. I think 02 to like 2023 would be his run. So that's 21 years.
They said since 01.
Well, that would be the first. That would be the last one without him, though, right? So then 2002 would be the first one with him, and then
another guy.
2 decades he's been in that.
Since 2012, not in it.
Ishii,
correct. Yeah. Ishii's been eliminated as well. So the finals come down to Yoshihashi versus Newman for the last A block spot.
I hope it's Newman.
And Oleg, forget his
Bolton, last. I think.
Versus Tai Chi for the last B block spot.
Let's pick Newman and Tai Chi in there.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Oleg, just because Tai Chi's another older veteran and they claim to be like really, really moving on to younger people.
I don't know how old Tai Chi is.
I don't know how old Oleg whatever is either. But so anyways, interesting. And again, we'll probably check out some just for Takeshita's sake of the G1.
Okay.
I only have one other.
I will. Yeah, I will follow Takeshita.
I know you will. I only have one other news
I have
item. Nothing. Leo Rush injured in the ladder match at Forbidden Door, apparently.
And Takeshita was how are not more people injured? Because Briscoe did that whack ass dive. Takeshita got smushed.
Yeah. So Rush doesn't sound major. He canceled a couple indie bookings, but he's basically like, I read some stuff, and he's like, I need an ice bath and some rest, and I'll be fine. Didn't reveal what it was, but it doesn't sound super serious.
Okay, so that's all right then, because I don't mind him.
Yeah, he's
they should bring him in and rerun that team with Dante Martin.
I enjoy him because he's different. He's tiny, he's lightning fast, super agile. I've always enjoyed him in matches.
Yeah.
When he's not retired, obviously, which happens
like 3 times
every other year or so. But anyways, that's it for news and rumors. We're going to get into pretty in-depth review of a pay-per-view that was, a week ago? Something like that.
Almost, exactly.
And a year ago from us attending it in Toronto. We'll take a look at 2024's edition of AEW Forbidden Door. All right, so Forbidden Door, we did watch the pre-show because it was packed full of matches, but I'm just really quickly going to go over them. Fletcher beats Serpentico in 3 minutes with that cool brainbuster off the top turnbuckle, dropping.
Also, Fletcher lost the ROH TV title to Atlantis Jr. of all people in CMLL, so that's bull.
And he's very blonde right now.
He's very blonde.
Then there was a 4-way, what can you say about the Fletcher match? He hit one cool move, it was over.
It was like a squash.
4-way tag team match, House of Black, Private Party, O'Reilly and Ishii and Kid and Strong. And commentary as this starts are telling us people are still filing in because there's plenty of empty seats and it's pretty quiet because it is the pre-show.
Well, it is the pre-show, so yeah.
So they just... this is where, remember, Brody King almost died?
Yeah.
Ishii, they did the chasing the dragon, and Ishii couldn't really hold him and literally dropped him on his head, it looked like. Like
Goldberg, Saudi style. Kinda.
It was not good because Ishii was struggling to get him. Brody King's a monster of a dude, right? And Ishii's no spring chicken.
And my takeaway from this match was that House of Black have beef with Private Party because they were just murdering them.
Yeah, they were.
Black need their faces off.
That's my next note is some of Malachi Black's knees are crazy.
Yeah, Private Party got murdered.
Nasty Gonzo bombed the Private Party.
Yeah.
That was for the win.
Didn't they take Dante's Inferno or no?
They teased it. I don't think they took it. I can't remember. I would have made note of it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would have been a notable. But anyways, I thought really fun, chaotic match. It was about 9 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy long, but I thought they did some good stuff.
I felt like this was one of those, guys, you're only getting 9 minutes, so get your stuff in, right? So I thought it was fun to watch.
And House of Black, I can win, I'll appreciate.
Yeah, I went 3.25 stars just to rate. I do rate things sometimes. We had Statlander and Momo Watanabe, who I didn't know her
I've
at
heard
all.
Her name a bunch. I've never
versus
seen her
Willow and Tam Nakano, who I did know, and I do enjoy Tam Nakano generally, or Nakano, I forget. All the pronunciations are changing on me, which is probably good because we're getting it right. But
I would agree with you, but
it's hard. The first few minutes,
I refuse to ever acknowledge Angelico.
Oh, my only notes are Tam Nakano hit a bunch of high angle suplexes, including you like the hammerlock variation. I think
the
she
hammerlock
hit for the
German
win.
Was pretty crazy looking. Yeah,
that was for the win. The first few minutes of this bored me a bit. I thought things picked up. And
it took them some time to get into it, for sure.
It was quite good with a lot of big, cool-looking moves, right? I thought Tam Nakano stood out, but everyone else was good, too. I went 3.25 on that as well. Mariah May and Saraya. May dominates early until she misses the hip attack. And I said there's a very different pace to this match depending on who is in control. I wonder. Slows down to a... stop
when May's in control.
When Saraya's in control, and looks pretty good when May's in control. Infinite elbows, I don't remember what I was referring to. It's been a week now. It's tough. Infinite elbows, May hip attack, Harley on the apron, Storm pulls her off, Paige Turner, but May grabs the ropes. Shirakawa and Storm interact on the stage with May in between. Surprising bridging pin by May for the win after about 8 minutes.
I don't even remember what that was.
May is cool, Saraya is not. The near fall with the rope break was pretty good. Some of May's stuff looks good. Match was fine, nothing more. 2.5 stars. Then we get the main event of the pre-show, if you will.
Easily the best match on the pre-show.
Yeah, things picked up in this one. It's Tsuji, who I honestly didn't think did a lot. Even though we're Tsuji fans. He's pretty invisible in this. Him. I do too. He just didn't get a showcase here.
Yeah, which annoys me a lot.
Takahashi, who I like. Titan. Who stood out in this, I thought.
Absolutely.
Versus Lucha Brothers and Mystico.
Which is a pretty big deal because Mystico's CMLL royalty and then Lucha Bros are big AAA guys. Right. So
it was worlds colliding here.
Yeah, it is a pretty big deal. Lucha Bros and when Andrade was here.
Not allowed to.
They weren't allowed to do Forbidden Door. So even though it's just the pre-show match, it's pretty cool and it'll be interesting to see how that factors in next year. If we'll see them in more prominent spots, if we'll see more stuff like this because... I think Roosh CML or was Roosh AAA?
I can't remember.
I feel like he was AAA, I want to say, but I don't know because I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that comes into play more often.
Yeah, it's they can really open it up to all kinds of because it's kind of got known for being New Japan AEW, but it could be more and more and more as they go.
Which is I think the idea with the Wrestle Dynasty.
Stardom's there now, although they're New Japan technically.
The Wrestle Dynasty, after Wrestle Kingdom, which will be cool.
Yeah. So we were pumped for Tsuji again. I don't think he did a ton here. A few highlights: Phoenix and Teton start out fast with a DDT blocked at the last second by Phoenix. Then Penta and Tsuji face off. They go back and forth with no one really getting
Penta.
The upper hand. Takahashi Mystico next. The crowd is hyped for that interaction. LIJ, right? Is that who they are?
Yeah. Nice. They're Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Correct. They eventually double team Mystico, but the Lucha Brothers fight back. Ranas and dives by Tsuji and Titan. to shift momentum back. Takahashi with a rough powerbomb off the apron to Mystico. Don't remember it now.
It was like he was trying to pull him down and then looked like he really splatted on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, rough, like good, though.
Right. That's right. An awesome destroyer by Penta. DDT into a suplex throw into a crazy kick by Teton.
Oh, that was awesome. Teton did like a tornado DDT, then rolled right into like a gourd buster drop, and then super kicked Phoenix's mask off.
That's
pretty much.
Amazing. You remember all those details because I don't.
It was crazy.
And I thought
it was so fluid, and like Phoenix looked like he died
like crazy. Rather sudden La Mystica, and it's over in about 10 minutes. So I thought this picked up a ton
fun
in the final few minutes, and the stretch by Teton I thought was really impressive. He looked really good in this. Again, Tsuji wasn't featured, but Mystico was. I thought it was a lot of Mystico and Teton stood out here. Enjoyable match. I went 3.5 stars. Best show, as you said, on the pre-show. All right, now the show proper. A little bit of surprised by the choice of opener.
I was initially, but MJF's hometown, so
True.
I'm not as surprised.
So it is Hechicero taking on MJF. MJF crowd surfs on his way to the ring, I think it was. And the story of this and commentary reiterated is that MJF isn't taking this seriously. And he's like underestimating Hechicero, seems to be the story.
Dumb.
Here. So MJF's in control, culminating a running boot to Hechicero, who's sitting in a chair.
I thought he was going to like run and like fake out, but then he did like a full on kicked his face off.
Looked good. MJF acknowledges the crowd on the way back in, and Hechicero snaps MJF's arm over the top to sort of shift momentum. So again, MJF's not following up as much as he could. He pays attention to the crowd instead of Hechicero, and it costs him. Heat Seekers countered into a cool dive. Don't remember. Bear hug spinning thing from Hechicero.
Oh, it's like where he has him in like the hammerlock and he like spins him around.
Yeah, I don't remember. I liked it. I don't remember details. Crazy high knee in the corner and a flare strut from Hechicero. Because I think MJF started out doing like flare struts and a few things to like legendary wrestlers. Like again, not taking it seriously, right? So Hechicero, I thought, really picked up the heel mannerisms here because he's facing MJF in his hometown, right? So MJF is then selling his left arm. We get a sudden MJF pile driver, cool springboard drop kick by Hechicero, followed by the crazy transition into an armbar thing he does. Yeah. My notes are amazing.
It's
here.
Like the thing he like
professional stuff.
He like catapults them up and like catches them, and then it's so he did to Ospreay in the gauntlet thing.
I don't know what he's doing, and that's a compliment to Hechicero because he does things different.
Confuses me greatly.
Brief salt to the earth from MJF. Another weird submission by Hechicero involving MJF's arms. I think he had them pulled back behind him somehow. Panama Sunrise by MJF, which they called something else. The Long Island, probably. Followed by a Brainbuster for the win here. I think it was about 10 minutes as well. Jack, I had to quote from you in the moment. Jack called this surprisingly straightforward and a little underwhelming. And in the moment, I think that is accurate. It didn't feel like the opener to a major pay-per-view to me.
It didn't feel like...
Felt pretty average.
Looked good, but it didn't feel like a major showcase for him. And MJF didn't feel like he was...
Both guys are good wrestlers, but it just was kind of there. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was pretty
I think it's pretty adequate, just because like it wasn't bad by any means. It just like, it kind of... It could have been much better.
I agree. Brief elite video kind of mocking the Acclaimed and promoting themselves, obviously.
There was the one, it was like showing
it was a good package.
how they changed New Japan, and Kenny Omega's blurred out, which
with
I
like
thought
a
was really funny.
voiceover, and Kenny's face blacked out on everything.
I thought it was pretty amusing. I liked it.
So that leads us to the Elite taking on the Acclaimed with Tanahashi. Scissor Ace, correct. Caster has a really strong rap that was extra long and then devolved into a series of bitches at the end, right?
He just ended everyone with bitch at Okada, which I thought was pretty funny.
My first note regarding Okada, why is Okada's stoic face even funny? Like when he's not reacting to anything, it's still something about him, right? Tana starts out with Nick, and Tanahashi has clearly lost a couple steps, I think, although it's to be expected. He just looks kind of slow and clunky a little bit. Scissor me timbers to stacked up Bucks, so both of them, I guess. Heels isolate Caster, and Okada mocks Caster being a DJ, and it's freaking hilarious. And he does it again on Dynamite, kind of, right?
It was... Well, Nick put on Caster's headphones, he's like, I can't... And then Okada's just like behind him, like DJing with like a mute face. And it was just...
he's such a good, like, prick.
He kills me every time.
He's hilarious.
I love him so much.
Bucks do some disrespectful mocking as they continue to dominate Caster. Then we get a Bowens hot tag, which is usually pretty good.
Bowens is a really good hot tag flare.
Yeah, he looked good at that run. Included a sick right hand to Okada. Crops pops. I think it's crowd pops for Tanahashi and Okada facing off. They were sort of waiting for that a little bit. Tanahashi takes control to start. Series of run-ins and big moves leads to an arrival and a mic drop to Okada. Scramble on the floor delays the Tanahashi splash, and Okada gets his knees up. Okada hits an elbow drop to Tanahashi, but he delays before the Rainmaker and almost gets caught with a Rainmaker. Beautiful Okada drop kick. It is quite nice.
This is just, he just does it better.
Stops Tanahashi cold. A Rainmaker follows, and Okada pins Tanahashi, which is a pretty big deal. Billy Gunn comes out afterwards to prevent a heel attack after the match. I thought another good match, but
I enjoyed this one.
Kind of a lot of multi-person matches going on, so they're starting to feel similar and blend together for me.
Yeah, but I think they kept Tanahashi to a minimum, which was smart, and then I think everyone else played their roles really well.
I said entertaining, not amazing, far from prime Tanahashi, 3.25 stars.
I was about to say, yeah, it felt better than the opener for sure.
Kind of hoping the show starts to build from here. Yeah. And guess what? It does, because we get Shingo Takagi taking on Danielson in round 1 of the Owen Hart Cup, tournament.
Quarterfinals.
Sorry, quarterfinals is correct. Lots of tape on Danielson's shoulders and upper back, as it's still part of the story.
I think he's got some of those suction
taking the move
too.
From Ospreay that's now banned. What is that?
Tiger
Storm
driver.
Right? So it's all Danielson to start with various holds. Shingo then takes... This is like the contrast of styles, right? Because Shingo's just there to beat the hell out of this man with heavy strikes. Danielson hits a running clothesline. Danielson dive to the floor is caught, and Shingo hits a nasty, draping, twisting DDT on the floor from the apron. Back in the ring, a very flat, as you would say, vertical suplex by Shingo Takagi.
It was like surprisingly flat.
Shingo keeps control, is super physical. Kick to the head from Danielson finally stops the Shingo onslaught. We get a low German and running drop kick to Shingo in the corner. Avalanche back suplex by Danielson. Danielson blocks some strikes and kicks and slaps on an armbar. I thought that was a cool sequence. Shingo counters something into a nice power slam. We get a big superplex and stiff sliding clothesline from Shingo. Danielson misses a corner kick. Shingo kills him with a running clothesline, followed by a nice made in Japan for a really good near fall.
That looked really good.
And I made a note here, but with stars beside it to indicate it didn't actually happen. This is where we were joking in the moment that Brie Bella's going to come down and throw in the towel for Danielson.
Yeah.
That did not happen. It made my notes, but it didn't happen. Sweet counter of another Shingo sliding clothesline attempt into an armbar by Danielson. Head kick and a regal plex by Danielson. Psycho knee for 2, and the crowd is on fire for this. Danielson with the stomps to the head that he does, and a triangle choke with elbow strikes as well. Shingo powers out as usual, but Daniels counters that into like the salt of the earth, and the referee stops the match. I thought a cool counter to a common move that no one else seems to do. It's that classic, they're going to pick you up for a power bomb, and he's ready for that and has a counter.
That's happened like a million times.
Counters it into a finish. So I don't know. I pretty much love this match. I thought it was the ultimate technician in Danielson, and the physicality and just hard-hitting nature of Shingo worked really well together. The crowd got into this. And Danielson just creates this dramatic air to his matches somehow. And Shingo can make it look like a real fight with how snug he's laying stuff into Danielson.
Some of his stuff, like he just comes in really fast and like smashes you.
It looked like a cerebral technician taking on an ass kicker and looking for ways to counter it. And I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was fantastic.
Ooh, I don't think I enjoy it as much. I'd go like, I'll be a little. I was like, I'm between 4 and 4.25. I'll go 4.25 just to be nice.
Fair enough.
I did like it. It was
really
good. And
match.
It was by far the best I've seen it out of Shingo, because I think mostly I've seen him in like the multi-man matches and whatnot.
Yeah, I enjoy Shingo quite a bit. He's just a little different. He's short but stocky, and he hits hard.
Yeah.
Then we move into our first women's match. It's the AEW Women's Championship match. Mina Shirakawa taking on Toni Storm here.
# we want Mina.
May is there first, so not really on anyone. Oh, okay, that's what that makes sense. She's already in the ring, right?
With flowers. That's like a stardom thing for the big title matches.
And a smart way to be like, she's not coming out with either one of them.
I like that, yeah. I thought it would either be that or like she'd come out with both of them, if that makes sense.
Right. So this is the whole story, right? Is whose side is May going to be on? So right away, we don't know. So Toni Storm's entrance, she's the Statue of Liberty briefly. That's her pay-per-view entrance, I guess.
New York.
Despite not being American, but yeah.
New
York coming up to the 4th of July. I get it. This is where my first note, Nigel's really annoying. I find him exhausting. And like the era for his type of heel announcer has passed by already. I feel like he's too much into it.
He wasn't like that in WWE though. It's weird.
Some people still really enjoy him. Like I was surprised John and Wei at Post Wrestling think he's great and should be doing All In. He bugs me. I don't know. Right after I typed that note about his commentary, Taz calls Nigel out on the human duplex line because Nigel said it was souffle, yeah. And Taz like, you don't even like listen. It was not. That's not what he said at all. Kind of. So I was like, nice, Taz. So Mina attacks Tony's knee, including a figure 4 on the post. Backstabber in the corner. Fisherman suplex turns the tide for Storm. Hip attack sends Mina to the floor at May's feet. Storm and May share a look. Storm misses a hip attack against the steps. High cross to the floor by Mina. Storm chokebomb out of the corner, and Mina's head bounces off the mat. Looked pretty good. Shirakawa back to the knee with a running drop kick. Some sort of electric chair slam thing. I wasn't quite sure what it was. This is where you're supposed to color that in for me.
I should know. There was something.
Electric chair slam thing, question mark. That's what we're calling it.
It does sound like something I would remember.
Diving avalanche DDT and an impaler by Shirakawa for quite some time. After she's up top for quite a bit. Storm snap German followed by a crazy hip attack for 2. Absolutely drilled the hip attack. Crazy looking pinning attempt thing by Mina for 2 that I don't know what it was. Rolling elbow, glamorous driver for a near fall. Some missed strikes, sudden short pile driver by Toni Storm for the win here. Storm picks up Mina. Mina extends her hand. They shake hands. May gets them to hug. So Mariah doesn't have to choose. All 3 of them kiss. Excalibur says that commentary.
Was it like someone? Was it Taz that was crying at that? Or no, it was Nigel. I think was crying when they did that. Like,
oh, was he? And Excalibur says the commentary did the same thing in their pre-show meeting.
Oh yeah, that was really funny.
Out of nowhere.
That was awesome.
I thought this was really good. Really impressed with Shirakawa.
Yeah, super strong women's match. I think this is the second one in a row that Storm's like really killed it because the D one was really good too.
Hard hitting match, much like Danielson delivered, despite, for me at least, the winner being pretty obvious in both of those matches.
I don't think, and we always say it's not always a deal breaker.
No, it's not. Lots of crisp offense from both. Nice limb targeting by Shirakawa. I like this quite a bit. I went 3 3/4 stars.
I would agree with that. I don't think quite as good as the last match, but still really strong. And like, I'm glad at least, if nothing else, the women's matches deliver when they really need to.
I like both of them on this show.
Yeah,
so that's good news. Then we move into Zack Sabre Jr.,
Sabre,
who will be known as Sabre on our show almost always. If you're not an Office fan, figured it. We do know his name is Sabre.
I am fully aware.
We just
believe me, as a detail guy, I'm fully aware.
Orange Cassidy is his opponent,
and he's wearing orange, much to Taz.
Taz owns that, has a trademark. Can't do that. He's
something like
color
that.
Orange. Yeah,
something like that.
So holds encounters to start, just as you would expect here with Sabre. Cassidy escapes to the floor. Cassidy kind of dances himself out of a chokehold. Remember that? He just kind of shimmies out of it.
Oh yeah.
Sabre opens Cassidy's pockets for him, and Orange applies a submission instead.
Yeah, and the commentary made a point of like be talking about like the mind games.
Yes,
the typical mind games of Cassidy. I remember that being a really big thing with the Ospreay Cassidy match of the first Forbidden Door. Was like Cassidy's usual demeanor and antics kind of got to Ospreay, and that's why he almost lost.
Right,
and so like Sabre's not like trying not to fall into that same trap, right?
And I said here, commentary
even kind of playing into it.
Commentary talks about rinsing joints, and Sabre definitely smoking joints. So I don't know where that came from. I guess Sabre's a pothead now.
Maybe he got some off of Riddle when he won that ugly ass belt.
Could be. More counters and reversals with Cassidy holding his own in sort of the technical style. Neck snap with the ankles gives Sabre the advantage.
I love when he does that. It's just like so simple.
The crowd responds too.
Every time too. It always gets a solid pop. So I think it looks really cool. It's just like, it's simple.
So here I have Sabre shifts through multiple submissions, some that make Jack question what he is seeing.
Yeah,
just like he does the thing where he doesn't hold any submission for longer than 6 seconds, and then he transitions to something else.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, what are we even?
I don't understand what he
he's
does
incredible.
Sometimes. Yeah, they need to do more with him.
Mocking lazy kicks by Sabre before one big real kick.
He lays in some solid kicks when he actually tries. Yeah.
Low drop kick to the running Sabre, and Cassidy targets the knee now. Even a dive.
Which I like, because that'll kind of pare down Sabre and kind of even it out for him.
So he even dives as the ref is checking on Sabre. On the floor, and then a dragon screw. So Orange is getting aggressive here, sort of like ramping things up.
You have to.
Every time Sabre tries to do something for a little bit here, Cassidy finds a way to go back to the knee, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
Michinoku driver by Cassidy for 2. Diving DDT nailed by Cassidy for 2. I thought it looked great.
Yeah, didn't Saber like kind of go like wooden board sell on that?
Commentary call it tough to watch. That's the one where, Saber really sold that. Saber stomps Cassidy's arm to shift momentum. Very believable finger snapping by Saber. Like, more
because you could hear it, I think, right?
Cassidy back to the knee with strikes and a cloverleaf. Commentaries say that Cassidy can't apply it quite right because his fingers are messed up, which I thought that was a good detail.
A good touch, yeah.
Beach break for 2. Mousetrap gets countered so cleanly by Saber into some crazy submission. Jack asks, "What did you do?" And it's over.
He had like Cassidy in this like, wasn't that like the modified armbar or whatever or something like that? No, because he had the modified armbar, then he like crossed Cassie's legs. He's got literally, and I'm like, what do you do there?
You can't do anything. You can't get out of it.
It was like he's tying up every little bit. Like he's grabbed his arm, then his legs are almost to the ropes. He grabs both his legs,
every
grabs his
limb
other
is
arm,
occupied,
and his neck's twisted. Like I'm like, what do you do there? You can't.
And so just as you say that, it is over.
What could you possibly do in that situation?
So 16 minutes this went. I thought really good technical
I really
match.
loved it, yeah.
Steady pace, lots of cool submissions and counters. I wasn't sure Cassidy's taking a beating style would work as well with a submission style guy, but I thought
think they did
it
really well, and I think like giving Cassidy that opening with the targeting Saber's leg kind of helped even it out and allowed him to get more in too.
And it's a reminder, like, Orange Cassidy is a really talented wrestler. Like, gimmick aside, say what you want about it, and I was skeptical about it. The guy can go, man. Like, he held his own with Saber here.
And he still had that title run, which was amazing.
And Saber always shows us submissions that we feel like we've never seen. Like, so many in succession, we don't even know. I couldn't even tell you what he won with,
because I have zero clue.
Right. Really good match. I went 4 stars with this. I thought this was pretty terrific.
I'd put at least on par with the Danielson match, so I'll give 4.25. And
if you're
I liked it a lot.
If you're new to us, we seem to be a little harsher in ratings. We're not quite so free to give out.
I try not to go too far.
There's not a lot for me above 4.5 in this world, because I save that 4.75 and 5 is like special stuff to me.
Osprey,
but anyways, so next match we get Hook, Joe, and Shibata taking on the Learning Tree,
which is Jericho, large man, and the big Hawaiian guy who has
Jeff
the
Cobb,
ugliest belt I've ever seen.
Is in the Learning Tree.
I think it's because, and I thought it was weird too, but I remember like he's been a regular ringer for Jericho, like dating back to 2020. So
always happy.
It does make sense. Yeah. Not when he's carrying that ugly rectangle he has to wear around his waist.
And I don't think you got a tour of the islands, did you?
No, we did get his goofy looking moonsault though.
Yes,
goofy in a nice way, because it's just like, what are you doing?
Jericho speaks before the match briefly, and Jack is annoyed.
Like, it's a pay-per-view. You don't have to speak.
No. Bill boot flattened Shibata early on.
Bill's bringing back the trunks for the Learning Tree. It's interesting.
Shibata then Hook work over Jericho after doing the Samoa Joe dodge. Jericho tags in Cobb to get away from Hook. Hook tags Joe. People seem to want to see Joe and Cobb.
I mean, how could you not?
Haas is in there.
I would love to see that as like a singles match on any week ever.
Joe works over Cobb for a bit before getting caught and slammed. Cobb tags in Big Bill. A Keith distraction allows Cobb to stop a Hook streak of offense.
You mean Bad Apple?
Right, the Bad Apple. The heels then isolate Hook. The crowd is pretty dead in the middle of this as the heels are in control. Cobb hits his standing moonsault and Jack is pleased.
It just makes me chuckle every time. Like, he has no business looking so graceful.
He doesn't. It's crazy. Shibata lukewarm tag before a triple team of Cobb ending with a Shibata hesitation dropkick.
Yeah, Hook, I like that little corner floor they did, because I think they did it on Dynamite too, and it's good. It's nice.
Hook T-bone to Cobb. And then my next thing says, add notes here or don't, pizza time. I was making a pizza. So there's nothing there. Hook hits the Judas effect for the win.
He did it better than Jericho, too. Everyone does it better than Jericho. Does. He does it better. Andrade does it better. Dar does it better. Nick Jackson did it better once.
It's definitely...
Everyone does it better.
Jericho's not good at his own finisher.
Yeah.
That's another problem.
Yeah.
I thought this was a fine trios match, a notch below several Dynamite matches recently, I thought.
Yeah. It wasn't amazing.
On this card didn't feel necessary.
It didn't feel like it needed to be here, Agreed. But like... It didn't feel like a complete waste of time, so it was fine. We didn't pick that one even because I think it was announced too late.
So Hook getting the clean pin on Jericho was nice, but
does that.
Winning with Jericho's mean this continues? And the answer is yes, because Jericho
100%.
Specifically refers to that on Dynamite, right? I gave this 3 stars. I thought it was kind of ordinary.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
3 stars isn't bad. It's just like it's average for me.
Yeah, I was just trying to think if it was better than the opener, and I was like, not really.
Not really. Then we get a bit of a car crash in the TNT Championship
I was waiting for
ladder match
because rooting for my boy.
Right. Perry enters in a big old goat mask.
He did that in Japan too when he was doing Scapegoat there.
Right.
So I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Perry, Rush, Mark Briscoe, Takeshita, Dante Martin, Perry, I think I already said, and then ELP.
Right. Yeah, I didn't go over who was even in it. Probably a good idea. So immediate Takeshita forearm to Perry.
Yeah.
And so Perry's kind of out for a minute, and the rest of them go after Takeshita.
Because he's the biggest threat, guys.
And one of the takeaways in this is the crowd wants Takeshita. So
yeah, no, it wasn't just me.
And I think they want him as a babyface, and they want him as a major player.
I like him better as a heel.
I think the reaction he's getting indicates maybe babyface.
I mean, I did like him as a babyface, but at the same time, he's like, I feel like him with Callis is just so much better.
I think the Callis family's kind of run its course, but maybe he can stay with Callis. I don't know.
I'd prefer him to, but either way, I think Takeshita deserves better. But yeah, like every time Takeshita was getting close, people were going nuts.
People, like, it's not just us.
It made me happy because we've been big supporters of Takeshita, like literally since the moment I first watched him.
Well, because every match, point to a match that hasn't been like very good to
the Sting
fantastic.
Match.
Okay, maybe, but every
that
matchup seems fresh, and he's just a believable.
But he's just explosive too. Like ever since the first time we saw him against Hangman, I'll never forget that match.
He's amazing.
That was like the Tyler Rust match for me, except Tyler Rust disappeared.
He did.
But yeah, no, Takesha's amazing, and like he was at the center of most of the big spots in this match,
and the crowd loves him as they should.
I love him. I've always loved him.
4 guys get ladders and throw them at each other early on.
That was kind of funny.
Chaos on the floor early, and Briscoe gets a table already. I was just going to say Roosh. Leo Rush.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is like the different pronunciations of things. It's a bad habit. I don't remember what it was either, but I did say Roosh, and it was not that. And I think it's anytime I see a Rush t-shirt, like the band, I'm like, Roosh. I think Roosh, and I'm like,
it's awesome.
It's horrible.
Awesome.
I've been conditioned because it's like Roosh is so weird. But
Rush is a good Canadian band. Okay, actually not my favorite, to be honest, but people love them. So Rush gets to shine, taking out Dante and Briscoe here. He's so fast, Leo Rush.
Yeah, I like his and I think you mentioned too, his misdirection spots are really
awesome. He's actually
speedy,
look
right?
legit.
Yeah,
like fast enough that you would be confused, right? ELP sends Rush through a ladder in the corner, and then I have torture rack neck breaker. I guess he.
Is that the thing in the ladder? I think.
On the ladder, maybe.
That. They used some ladders that were pretty flimsy for
They did. Takeshita sends a ladder into Dante's head. Brainbuster to Dante on the side of a ladder.
That was pretty nice.
Briscoe spinning ladder head spot where he has it over his own head. The
helicopter spot, yeah.
Actually, a couple of the impacts looked okay, because sometimes I'm like, nobody really wants to take that, and it's obvious that they're just like...
Was this the match where it was like he was spinning crazy and everyone ducked out of the way or something, or is that a different match
I don't think that was this one. Could be.
I don't even know.
Briscoe somersault off a chair in the ring onto a ladder on top of Takeshita through a table on the floor.
There's
Is Takeshita okay, is my note.
We thought he died after that.
And when they're like, he broke his arm, I'm like, he could have.
I thought he's got his face smashed or something. But it was like, so Takesha's, there's the table at ringside, and it's like one of the legs is set up so it's like slanted, right?
Yeah.
Takesha's leaning against that. Then Briscoe leans a ladder on Takesha. So Takesha's in between a slanted table and a flat ladder.
Yes.
And then Briscoe's got the chain ring, so he somersaults over it, and Takesha looks like he gets smashed by the ladder.
Absolutely.
So that was pretty crazy.
And the commentary were sort of questioning if he was okay.
Takesha was out for a bit too, so I was worried, because even though
I was like, where'd he go?
I knew Perry was winning this. I just wanted the hope that Takesha was gonna I was rooting for Takesha the whole time, as I said I would. He's my boy.
So Perry sets up a ladder bridge in the corner, only to leave it there and go climb a different ladder, which he just moved further away from where it was supposed to be. So I thought that was strange. Dante and ELP on a ladder that gets pushed over. Dante sells his ankle, and commentary, I don't know how I felt about this. They
were mentioning that a lot, like the PTSD kind of thing. I was like,
it's the same ankle, oh my god. And I'm like, no, come on.
That's messed up.
But anyways, then my next note just says, Takeshita is okay! Exclamation mark.
That's what we wanted. That's all we need to know.
Briscoe sets up a ladder on the apron,
which I thought, I was like, that's unnecessarily risky.
And Rush dives through the ladder onto Takeshita on the floor.
That's pretty cool.
Briscoe,
he's got a good suicide dive too.
He does,
because you just the velocity comes at you. It's like, it looks impactful.
Briscoe off the apron ladder onto Perry, but not really.
Did not break the table.
Edge of the table into Briscoe's midsection. Table
ironically reminded me a lot of Edge's dive from the cage match.
Oh, except less dangerous, I guess.
Less destructive.
Where did ELP go? He has not done much, was a note there. Takeshita rips Dante off a ladder and power bombs him hard. Takeshita
through a corner ladder.
Grabs Rush off a ladder and last rides him through a ladder.
Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. ELP knocks Takeshita from a ladder and lands a big super kick. Takeshita elbow and knee to ELP on the
Which
apron.
Looks crazy.
Huge leaping blue thunder bomb through 2 tables. Looked incredible.
The table break was amazing.
Fantastic.
The table's absolutely. If the
you
other one
plan it better,
if the other one didn't work, this one worked too good. They got smashed. That was awesome. Takeshita looked killer there.
Takeshita climbs, but Briscoe hits him with a chair,
which again people were excited about.
Somewhat awkward J driller through a ladder leaning in the corner. It's like he wasn't quite going to get it.
The ladder was kind of broken already too. It was that one that Rush went through. I
don't think. Yeah, the ladder wasn't in perfect position, but they just went for it anyways. Briscoe climbs the ladder, but Perry hits him with another ladder before hitting him with some chair shots.
Like a million times.
Perry climbs, grabs the title, and is the new TNT champion after 17 minutes. Couple of lulls in this for me.
I loved it, though. It was an awesome car crash.
The last chunk of it was pretty awesome, I thought.
I really enjoyed this.
Memorable spots for the right people, I thought. Got a lot of attention. Takeshita mostly. Car crash as expected. Fun to watch. I went 3 1/4 stars on this one.
I'll go 3 3/4.
Sorry?
Wait. No, I liked it a lot.
So go. Yeah, you can go.
Ooh, I'll go 4.
There you go. I think that's reasonable. It was a very fun match.
It was really fun.
Looked good.
It was one of the ones I was looking really forward to, too. And I'm disappointed Takeshita didn't win, but he was a standout, so I'll take that.
Would have liked to see more ELP.
Yeah, that's true. He wasn't there a ton, but I do like me some ELP.
Then we move into our next women's match. It's the TBS Championship match with Stephanie Vaquer.
And the strong title, because that was made for Monet.
Who I've never really seen Vaquer.
I've literally never seen her before.
Chile, right? Chilean, I believe it is.
I don't know. I just think she's from CMLL.
Versus Mercedes Monet.
She had all her belts this time, did Vaquer.
Right. I thought Vaquer has a cool look, and it kind of contrasts.
She looked like Cora Jade, kind of.
She contrasts the Monet vibe really well, because it's like Monet's all flashy and
she's just kind of dark.
And I'm just an ass kicker here to fight you. Holds counters pinning attempts early on. They exchange some fancy arm drag, like lucha arm drags that
Monet does the same one every time, though. It's like she really is attached to that arm drag.
I don't love them.
Well, I don't love hers.
Too much flash, not enough substance.
Vaquer's was better, and hers it's just kind of basic. It's she just runs up and kind of does a spin, because Vaquer's at least doing some jumping on the ropes or whatever. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's just Monet, because she loves Eddie Guerrero so much, so she's just trying to do that. But it's the same thing. I don't love hers every time, because sometimes the arm drags look cool, but hers just looks kind of weak to me every time.
It's not my favorite, because at the end of the day, it's an arm drag. No matter what comes before it, it's still an arm drag. Monet head scissor takedown on the floor, tornado DDT countered, or Monet was too far from the apron, and Monet has run into the apron. Soul food in the ropes and a springboard knee to Monet. Monet goes to the floor, and Vaquer hits a big crossbody off the top. Vaquer now in control with some grounded pound. 2 amigos going for 3, but a body scissors into a sweet-looking submission via Vaquer. It's that Have style or whatever that Angelico uses that I quite enjoy it, man. I think more people need to grab that style because it's interesting to me. Vaquer squeezes Monet's head in her knees and drives it into the mat, and the crowd... This is where things start to turn, man.
Because she was
The crowd agrees with us. Monet is not a baby.
Monet was getting heat. There's some guy was this where there's the guy in the Celtics jersey?
Yes, and then they start chanting. Yeah, he was very visible.
They started chanting
F the Celtics or
and then
whatever,
the Red Sox. Which I thought was really funny.
So the crowd kind of turns. Vaquer looks really good, and they're into her. And like we say, Monet is not a baby face the way she's portraying herself right now, and I think that's true. Nice anti-air drop kick by Monet after she stumbles a bit in the corner. Running double knees in the corner, tornado DDT with a push off from the ropes. Vaquer DDT into a pinning predicament. Monet falls when she's not supposed to. Double clothesline, both are down. Crossface exchange, Vaquer powers up and the crowd is behind her. Boos for Monet, official now. Fireman's carry gutbuster
Dynamite
by Vaquer. F the Celtics chant here. 2 backstabbers by Monet to lots of boos. Vaquer boots up on a what were you going for?
Oh yeah, that was Monet just kind of she just did the thing where you literally just jump in. It's just it was literally just
jumping into your boots.
Yeah, like that.
Nasty Vaquer dragon screw in the corner, running double knees for 2. Vaquer is really impressive.
Many people in Mexico do the Andrade corner.
It looks good.
It's good. It's just so many people do it.
F the Red Sox chant now. Bridge up failure. Nigel makes excuses for. Don't remember.
Nope.
Moneymaker into the crossface, and it's over.
That I liked better because she still didn't fully get it, but at least it wasn't the move is supposed to be the impact. It's a set. So that's a better reason to do it.
It is. I agree. I think it should always be something preceding it.
Instead of the backstabber, like just to like differentiate from her WWE run, I feel like that's excusable.
And then one of the big surprises on this show, Britt Baker's music.
It was so funny because like nothing was happening. I was like, and I just said it like the heat of the moment.
2 seconds before it
literally
happened.
I was like, Britt Baker comes back, and then her music is. I was like, oh
so
my
that
God.
was cool.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the match first, I guess. I really enjoyed this match, and largely because of Akur, who I thought looked pretty great. I
thought she looked pretty good. I think this is one of the matches where I was paying attention less, admittedly.
Yes.
But I thought it was really good for what I saw. And Akur's interesting. I like to see her again, and
Me too.
I'll pay attention more.
She dominated the majority of this, and like the live crowd, I found myself rooting for her and not the babyface.
Although I feel like we were already there.
We were. We all know Monet has to be a heel. This proves it. The crowd is not accepting of her. I was really impressed.
And I think she could do really good. I'm not like, it's not because I hate her. I just think it like this, and I also agree that this run hasn't worked. And
no, not at all.
She can do good as a heel. Like
she can. And in ring, she's good, man.
In ring, she's still good. Yeah, like I don't think she's lost a step whatsoever.
I thought Akur was great. Monet was very good. I went 3 3/4 stars. Predictable outcome. A little bit of sloppiness from Monet in spots, maybe knocked a 1/4 star, but super impressed with Akur. That was one of my takeaways from this, is that this woman's awesome and we need to find more ways to include her and see her. Regarding Britt's return, really cool, but for me, it's a little hard to forget she was basically doing nothing before she was gone, right? So she can be a main eventer for sure. She has been, and I'm sure she will be.
It's rebuilding, and she was obviously dealing with a lot.
She was. That's not how she left, so they kind of need to rebuild her.
Which I think is also understandable because at least this is not, she's not gunning for Storm.
No.
So there is that.
And the crowd wants to cheer Baker and they want to boo Monet, so they need to do the right thing here. And I think coming off Dynamite, it looks like they are.
I think so.
Right? So I went 3 3/4. What did you think?
I'd agree with that.
I was close to 4, honestly. I really enjoyed this.
Actually, I've watched less. I'll go 3.5 just because I don't think I was as invested.
Right. Then we get the IWGP Heavyweight
World
Championship
Heavyweight. The
match.
heavyweight title's dead, and so is the Intercontinental, and that makes me sad still.
Moxley taking on Naito.
That belt is still spray painted.
Really ugly belt was my first note. Ugly belt.
I don't hate it as much because
I dislike it.
I loathe that rectangle so much that this belt doesn't even bother me now.
Fair enough. Red Shoes here to ref this one.
Red Shoes. We love Red Shoes.
My note says, I am still surprisingly wide awake and we are watching this live. That's a good sign for this show.
That is true. And also worth noting, because we haven't mentioned that, I love, I forget what his name is, but I love Japanese announcer guy.
Oh, he's great.
I love him so much.
They should always use him.
Always.
Mox is in control early. Naito gets dropped across the top rope. Naito then gets dropped onto the announce table. Mox follows up with some punches. We do notice JR is now on commentary for the last couple matches, I think. Naito spits on Moxley. We get a stalling Mox pile driver that looked good. Very slow pace is my note here. High angle backdrop driver by Mox. Lengthy struggle in the corner. Mox finally shoved off the top to the floor. Naito uses padding as a weapon, ? Remember, it was like the padding off the bear. It's like hitting him with a pool noodle. Like,
honestly,
that's not a weapon.
That feels like a perfectly apt comparison to me.
Right? I thought so.
I'm just like picturing it now, and it's like the same thing.
It is. Naito in control with basic stuff, and this is pretty boring. The crowd seems to agree.
It's pretty slow, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like the
spoiler.
The
I did not like this match. I thought this match sucked.
I didn't love it.
Mox powerbomb out of the corner. More Naito offense leads to Destino. Mox counters the next move.
Whoa. That's Operation Dragon, buddy.
That's right. Mox counters the next move into a paradigm shift. Both are down. Big lariat. Death Rider for 2. Red Shoes takes a chair from Moxley. Naito kind of counters a Death Rider. Commentary not sure either. I don't remember specifically.
I don't remember.
Some sort of modified DDT thing and a Destino. And Naito is the new champ. This man was a lull in this show for me. It had picked up pace from the first couple matches.
I love Moxley.
Me too.
Moxley's my boy. He'll always be my boy.
So
it was a bit of a downer.
I've said I'm not a Naito fan, and this did nothing to change that, right?
This didn't get me on Naito. Kind of like how I haven't seen a lot of Naito, so between him and Takagi, it's like I needed to see more of them, and Takagi looked really good.
I think he has a bit of a reputation like Nakamura, where if he's not into it and whatever, do you know what I mean? You're getting one of two versions of him.
I didn't know Nakamura was like that. Or like, that's a Lesnar thing too, for sure.
And so his offense seemed basic, which is fine if you create drama and have charisma, and people say he does, and I don't see it.
I really wasn't in it for me.
Considering this was a main title match for a major company, disappointing.
And a title change.
I gave it 2 3/4 stars.
I agree.
It may come up
it
on
was
like
definitely my least favorite match.
A worst of list, considering how it's the IWGP title.
I don't think it'll like
second from the main event. I don't know if I'd
nominate it, but I might like mention it.
It's not like it was bad, but it's one of those like
expectations and circumstances.
Yes,
okay,
it should
fair.
be better.
That's fair,
right? So yeah, disappointing, and then hoping not to be disappointed by the main event. I was not. It is Will Ospreay taking on Swerve Strickland, not Serve Strickland, as my notes say.
I've typed that a bunch of times. I'll never forget how many times I typed Hanagman.
Hanagman.
Yeah.
For the AEW Championship, Jack wants to know what's with the Hayabusa stuff. I guess he inspired Ospreay, and I think they do actually say that to us. So we get sort of the answer.
Oh, yeah. I actually did see something Ospreay talked about like in 2022. I think he took out Hayabusa's daughter to dinner. Oh. And no, he's married, you buffoon. But like asking permission to do that, 'cause I guess he's a big Hayabusa fan. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. And so that was cool. And I think he was saying like, yeah, Forbidden Door is the perfect time to do that. Even though Hayabusa was FMW, not any.
Yeah, I don't know much promotions about him other than he's.
I know that he was like.
That's it.
Their big draw, and he got paralyzed off a lion salt.
Ooh, clearly an influential.
That was like the big
guy.
thing. Yeah, and then FMW was like the Japanese. They inspired Heyman big time.
Yeah,
you know Heyman's carny is Onita.
Yeah,
Onita's like the biggest carny that ever carnied.
Big trash bag of a human.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I watched the Cultaholics video on FMW.
Yeah, he's not a good person.
Big time. Yeah.
So Jim Jones is here to ask whose house and introduce Swerve.
Don't
know who he is.
I was gonna say whose house? Who's Jim Jones?
He was there. Good for him.
He was there. Swerve. I didn't love his gear. The shorts over the tights. I was like, no.
I don't even remember.
It looked weird.
Very on brand for us. And think about it, and I don't even notice.
Yeah.
I really enjoy going into this. That like, yes, we both picked Swerve, and we should go over.
But I was
picks,
never 100% certain.
But either man could win, and that's a cool.
Yeah,
feeling.
we'll do the picks after, because I feel like it's more straightforward that way.
Feeling out each other to no advantage early on.
Like that.
Crazy flipping out of each other's stuff.
Oh my god!
The crowd loves it.
Didn't Swerve like kind of flip out something? I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was.
There's a lot of times where I'm going like, oh.
Swerve takes Ospreay down, but he just pops up before Swerve can even follow up here. Swerve gets booted off the apron. Ospreay follows up with his slingshot crossbody that always lands heavier.
He gets more like velocity or impact on it. Whatever he does is
somehow he drops harder than other. That doesn't make sense, but
he just comes at you faster. It's kind of like how Pac like gets some oomph on his shotgun dropkick or something.
Ospreay drive-by dropkick on the apron.
That was pretty good.
Swerve hits a smooth sequence after sweeping Ospreay's legs out, causing him to hit his back on the turnbuckle. Sorry, where was I here? Swerve neckbreaker. He holds onto it and hits another one in the ropes this time.
I like that.
Swerve has gained 10 pounds, we are told. I put talk to me when it's 14.
I said 14 pounds of muscle.
Which is a Cody Rhodes reference, if you don't know.
Which he referenced the promo to end racism at the show last night.
He admitted on the show that he gave one of the worst promos in history of wrestling.
I disagree. That's one of my favorite promos ever.
It's circled back around into...
It genuinely, it's so bad. We still quote the baby to end racism.
Of course we do. Racism is over because of Cody Rhodes
Racism is forever solved.
Correct.
Thanks to Liberty Rhodes.
That's right. Handspring corkscrew kick from Ospreay lands perfectly. Outside the ring for a bit, both on the barricade. Sweet leaping Hurricane Rana from Ospreay. Back in the ring for a phenomenal forearm. Swerve with a sudden leg capture backbreaker to stop the Ospreay onslaught. Swerve hip toss into an arm scissor. Swerve then with mocking kicks. Ospreay fires up for a strike exchange. Great sequence of near misses leads to an Ospreay powerbomb and a Styles clash for a 2 count.
I really like that combo he's adapted.
It's good.
It's kind of cool. I can guarantee you there are going to be some WWE tribals being like, he's just using the Styles clash like it's nothing, and people are kicking out of it mid-match, and he's like wasting it. I'm like...
Yeah, but it's fun to watch, so get over yourself. Yeah. Garcia watches from the stands. He did not get a very good seat for this show. He was way up where, like...
I mean, that's kind of like what we had, though, so
yeah,
I'm not going to follow.
But we don't work for the company and don't make...
That's true. But
several $100,000 a year.
I guess.
Swerve counters an Os Cutter with a Swerve stomp. It looked
kind of
crazy.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was really weird because it's like, so Ospreay is coming from like this one side springboard, but then Swerve had run up and springboard from the other side of the corner.
Yeah.
And so then he kind of like caught him sideways.
And it was like perfect, but like, how could it be?
Exactly. And I don't mind that because it's like when someone struggles to like lift him up for something. It's kind of like that's never going to be perfect, but he got enough of it.
They took a big swing here. I liked it. Swerve misses a move, but flips off the apron and lands on his feet.
It's that thing he always does, really.
Yeah, looks awesome. Both up top, huge avalanche angle slam from Swerve here.
That was sweet.
Back heel kick nails Swerve on the apron, but Swerve dodges the Oscutter to follow.
A lot of the heel kicks from Ospreay just smushed him in the face.
Ospreay lands hard on the floor. Swerve sets up for the stomp, but Ospreay rolls. He's not safe there. Swerve hits a crazy Swerve stomp into the announce table.
Oh, it looked crazy. It did not budge. It did not budge.
Looked amazing. My favorite spot of this match, probably.
It was awesome.
Looked crazy. Pile driver on the barricade.
Which he did in the Texas Death against Hangman.
You may have to correct me. I called it an inverted impaler because I didn't know what to call it from Swerve for a near fall.
That's valid.
Avalanche.
I do actually remember what you're talking about, strangely enough.
Avalanche Oscutter, regular Oscutter for a near fall. So many Oscutter attempts happening at this point.
Well, I'd say the Avalanche cutter was just a cutter because Oscutter is the springboard, I guess.
Yeah.
But same difference.
Hidden blade partially blocked. 2 more of the heel kicks. Swerve counters an Oscutter into a pinning predicament. Another Oscutter, Stormbreaker for a near fall.
I love Stormbreaker.
Here's where we get the tease of the Tiger Driver, but he doesn't follow through and headbutts Swerve instead. Calls for the Tiger Driver now. Swerve counters it into a roll-up for 2, and then drills his own hidden blade. Looked good.
Yeah, he smushed that.
But the stomp misses. Swerve ducks the hidden blade, and the referee gets hit. Swerve hits a nice Poison Rana, followed by an immediate hidden blade, but there is no ref to make the call. So Callis gives Ospreay, so Callis is there, obviously.
Callis has arrived.
Hands Ospreay a screwdriver, and sort of Ospreay contemplating is conflicted about whether he's going to use it or not. Nana shoves Callis to the floor. Callis sells it like he's been hit with a cannonball.
Which
basically.
I like, because then that gets Ospreay, obviously, too. Yeah. It works for Callis.
Ospreay grabs Nana, threatens to stab him briefly here. Cooler heads prevail. Ospreay walks into a house call in the ring. Swerve stomp. A new ref comes in, but it's not over. That's a near fall there. Swerve snaps Ospreay's arm with his leg, and another house call, still a 2 count as Ospreay just will not stay down. Ospreay staggered. Swerve catches an exhausted hidden blade attempt, but then it's a third house call.
Kills him.
JML driver or whatever it's called now.
Big pressure.
And it is over. Did you say 27?
27 minutes.
27 minutes. Swerve shows respect to Ospreay and even kisses him on the head after the match. This ended up being fantastic.
There were a couple times where I don't think you mentioned, but Swerve ducked the hidden blade, but doing a Matrix kind of dodge, which was crazy looking too.
Match of the show, which is what you want your main event title match to be.
It was awesome. I'll put that on my short list.
I thought the final half of this was exceptional. We predicted the result pretty perfectly, but there was still a chance that Ospreay could win, and that gets me into it even more.
There was every chance Ospreay could have won, and honestly, there were a couple times where I thought he had it. Even when there were a couple times I thought got the Swerve, the house call and the Swerve stomp, I thought it was over, and Ospreay stayed a little longer, so that made me think even more. Oh, maybe Ospreay's gonna win it.
Right. Ospreay just continues to have a incredible run of fantastic matches. Swerve, as we talked about earlier, picks up a signature win over the best wrestler in the world.
And it kind of breaks the barrier of Ospreay losing now, because he hasn't lost in AEW.
So they dished out so much punishment, had so many great near falls along the way. The crowd rebounded for this after the sort of Moxley dud before it. I thought highly entertaining. The involvement of Callis wasn't my favorite, but it's there to protect Ospreay a little bit, so it didn't bother me.
And it kind of furthers him finally getting away from that,
right.
So that's okay.
So, awesome main event. Hard. I did prefer it over the Danielson Shingo match. I gave it 4.5 as well, but liked it better. So almost 4 3/4 for me. I thought this was terrific.
Yeah, I'll go 4.5.
How is Ospreay not the wrestler of the year?
Yeah, I feel like it's
I don't know what
halfway through his resume is incredible. He's already got a belt. He's had probably the 2 best matches of the year, or actually my 3 favorite matches of the year are probably this one, Danielson, and the Takeshita match.
Every match is amazing. Every matchup is exciting.
His promo work is impeccable.
Great.
His character work.
He would have to get injured for the rest of the year, probably,
to not win it. Yeah, pretty much.
So
I would dare anyone to try.
Fantastic main event. Did you go higher than 4.5?
No, I'll agree with that, because it's not quite Ospreay Omega still,
right?
Because that match is everything to me.
Correct. I didn't do my math, so I'm gonna have to go by feel on this one. Sometimes I go science, and sometimes I go art on my ratings of pay-per-views. Yeah. This one will be an art one. So. Not an A-lister for sure, because there were some things I didn't love.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I think overall it might have been the best Forbidden Door. I don't know.
I am going to,
because the highs are pretty good.
I'm going to give it a B+.
I think so, yeah. Because I think Hechicero and MJF letting us down holds it back. The IWGP title match definitely holds us back. And I think the Jericho match holds us back.
Right.
Honestly, if you had put the Lucha Bros match here instead of the Jericho match, then like
Acclaimed stuff was.
I'm okay with that. I don't mind that because at least it's like furthering a better story and like Okada Tanahashi is something. Right?
And if they had trimmed the fat a little bit here, they don't need all these matches.
I would have taken off the Jericho match at least and handed more time to the main event.
Mm-hmm. So a B+ show, still really entertaining. I was wide awake for the whole thing.
It verges on an A-, but it gets held back by a few things. I
paid for it and did not regret it again, as always. So
and I think I'm really glad they leaned into like CMLL and Stardom, like any of New Japan's affiliates to kind of help bolster things because New Japan's in a bit of a low right now.
And my takeaways were obviously Britt Baker's back. The crowd is hyped for that. Vakur is awesome.
We want Takeshita.
Takeshita is what people want and possibly as a babyface, and Swerve got a
finally here.
Solidifying win that he needed. Yeah,
because his title reign did start off shaky, right? Because like he had, I mean, I think like before this, the best thing he didn't. I really liked the match with Roddy that he had.
The problem was the face turn. The Swerve face is not.
Unless you walk the line, in which he kind of has been.
The last 3 weeks, he's getting back to more of that edge, which is helping. And then this match solidifies things.
Yeah, for sure.
So very good show. All right, we'll shift gears into our regularly scheduled stuff, and that is taking a look at the follow-up from Forbidden Door, and that is this Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, I have grabbed coffee. I have grabbed raspberries. I've grabbed orange juice. I just realized
we forgot our picks. Do you want to do that real fast?
Oh, yeah. Talk about... I think I did well on picks, but...
Yeah, there are a couple where I know you won out.
Hooray.
So, I mean, are we keeping running tally, or do we just...
I'll do it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Whoa. You don't like raspberries, remember?
That's not true. Okay, so it was LIJ against the Lucha guys. We both picked Lucha guys, so that was light.
Wait, so we're even.
You took Willow and Nakano, so you're up 1.
Yep.
Both took MJF, so you're still up 1. You took Sabre, up 2. Tanahashi and Claim we both did not get. Both took Danielson, so even. Both took Perry. Both took Storm. You took Naito, so you're up another 1. Both took Monet, and then both took Swerve, so I think you're up 3.
And did I run I missed 1, I think?
Yeah, I think it was the Acclaimed lose.
I'm good at this.
Losing, yeah.
That's a whooping for me. Usually it's like by 1 or a tie.
I lost out on the first one because Serpentico lost.
Of course, that's a lock that he would win there.
That I was certain.
Nice, so I win. Talk about Dynamite now.
All right. We kick off with the Garcia interview with Renee Moxley. Garcia says he promised himself and his mother he'd win tonight on her life.
So I was like, I made a note of that because like you're telegraphing.
Is she dead or something?
But maybe, I don't know.
That's the only logical explanation.
It's a weird promise to make.
Losing's not an option for him. MJF comes in, says he wants to be in Garcia's corner for the main event. Garcia's cool with that. Garcia leaves, and Daddy Magic says he thought MJF was full of it, but after what he's done for Garcia lately, he's cool with him. It was solid. Garcia's delivery is unique, and it's not my favorite, but I don't mind it. Just add some hype to the main event, and this is interesting because I would think Garcia would be cornered by Menard. So
I thought Garcia sounded good here, and he can be hit and miss on the mic.
Yeah,
but I still feel like the love for Garcia from 2 of the top stars in the company is kind of random and forced, right? Like
maybe he's just he's just underappreciated.
I said it last week. You can keep telling me how awesome Garcia is, but I watch him all the time, and he doesn't win. So there's a bit of a disconnect still for me. But
yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day, they're trying to elevate him again, but it's just this stop and starts with Garcia that they do. Yeah, so anyways, sure. I thought it was fine.
Then we roll right into our opening match, which is all the way into the deep semifinals of this tournament.
Dream match for me,
deep
basically.
Semifinals. Bryan Danielson versus that schmuck that Sami Zayn mentioned on a comedy show. Mr. Pac.
One of his best friends. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but I feel like I kind of did.
I'd love to hear it because Sami Zayn seems like a good dude, and my love for Pac is.
It makes sense. Oh, extreme. Also Pac's a reggae guy.
That was weird. That Pac loves reggae. We learned from Sami Zayn last night. It was a funny detail.
Very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Owen Hart semifinals. The winner of this will take on the winner of Switchblade versus blank. Holds and counters early on. There's a beefy strike exchange. Pac with the borderline majestic springboard moonsault to the outside. Just big ol'.
He's incredible. Let's be real.
Pac is dancing in the brutalizer, but Danielson will eventually get his foot on the bottom rope. Chest kick from Pac and mocking yes chance. Danielson gets to his feet. We get a strike exchange as Danielson's mounting a comeback. Flips out of a German suplex as Danielson, and he lands a roundhouse, which leaves them both down. Diving elbow drop off the barricade from Pac. Springboard elbow drop in the ring. Both of those look meaty.
The landing on the one. Sorry, I'm muted. The landing on the one outside the ring was crazy.
Heavy. Yeah. And then tombstone pile driver for 2. Danielson locks in the bell lock. Pac is able to move and get his foot on the bottom rope. Avalanche brainbuster from Pac for 2, which was perfection. Pac misses the black arrow, but at least we got the twist. And then Danielson connects with the psycho knee, but he's slow to the cover. Pac kicks out right into the brutalizer, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
Danielson counters that into a pin. Off the kick out label lock, Pac counters that into a pin for 2. Danielson rolls the pin into his own pin, and he's able to sneak out the win here.
Yeah, this was pretty fantastic. Like, just a great opening match. Technique, striking, crowds really into it. It makes the show feel important right away because we have a match between 2 fantastic wrestlers with stakes attached to it, right? So I really like that. And again, this constant story of the neck of Danielson is a target, and the bastard Pac is more than willing to attack it relentlessly, right? Which means Brian, it puts him
even
in that,
as a babyface,
puts him in that role of like the resilient babyface, which is he's a master of that role, right? So the finish came quickly. And Pac looked, I thought, appropriately pissed off about losing the way he did. So I'd like that
which
detail,
is also how he won against Claudio, ironically.
Yeah. Excellent TV match, as you would expect. Given a fair amount of time, it went 17 minutes to feel significant. I thought great start to the show, great TV match. Like, there's not much chance you're getting less than that from these 2. So awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm. Great match to start the show for sure. I think we always knew who was going to win, but it's a match on paper I've always wanted to see, and I'd gladly take it again whenever. I think Pac did a great job targeting the neck of Danielson. Made sense. The sequence when we had the 2 elbow drops in the tombstone looked super impactful, and the brutalizer is a great neck submission too. He didn't hit it, but at least we got the black arrow attempt because it's something. It's just beautiful. The moonsault to the outside was crazy too. Just beautiful looking.
And I feel like the long story of this Tiger driver from Ospreay, like, it's gonna pay off. He's gonna have to hit it to win some big match, maybe
obviously,
All In or something, right?
Yeah, he'll have to do
so that's gonna be a cool moment, and it's just a really smart way. Like, Danielson's build up selling it forever and taping it every match and stuff. I like it.
Danielson's quality as always. His strikes were heavy in this one. I like the finish as it shows. Like, they were pretty evenly matched, and Pac looked strong in defeat. I don't like that he had to lose, but he kind of had to.
That's a good point, because didn't Pac just give some sort of rant about like, I'm tired of losing?
That was his whole thing before the tournament, yeah.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, that was Danielson's thing too. So it's like they were both tired of losing, and someone had to give. Something had to give, exactly. This ain't the C2 where you can both just go to a draw and keep going.
That's true.
This is serious. This is the semifinals. Right?
Right. Hard fought.
Wrestled for one match.
Right. It's a lengthy path to get to
one whole match. Then we get an interview with Willow Nightingale. She talks about her mantra of nothing matters, smile anyways. She says it's her only defense in a world that's full of pain and suffering. She does it for her and her fans. She says Stokely and Statlander mock her because they don't know anything about that. And she says it's for anyone feeling down and for her friend fighting depression. And it's for the little girl who wanted to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. She says she might have lost her TBS title, but opportunities in front of her, and she'll be the first 2-time Owen winner. She'll go to All In and become champion. She's going to go to the ring and she'll kick Statlander's ass because nothing matters and smile anyways.
A pretty existential view by her, right? Like, nothing matters, smile anyways. That's an existentialist view where like life has no meaning and you basically make your own meaning. But anyways, I won't get into that complicated stuff. I love Willow. I love Willow.
Proves once again, as if it were needed, she's just an amazing babyface.
She comes across as like every person. When like they will say he's trying to be every man. Like everyone can relate to Willow somehow, and it's really great for her. She's believable as both the sweet and fiery, right? So she's one of those people, and this is the highest compliment I can give. If I'm starting a wrestling company, she would be someone I target early on to make sure I get her. I think she's really strong in her babyface character, and many people struggle with that, and then she can go in the ring. So I think she's really strong. I love Willow.
Yeah, she's one of those ones where I would like keep her as a babyface. And
she's great as a babyface.
Turn her ever, because I feel like she's just so perfect in this role. She's like a Gargano, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn-esque, where like that's their role, where best at.
That's their wheelhouse.
Exactly. I'd even say Eddie is almost better as babyface too, Kingston.
Yes.
I always thought he was a good heel,
hard
but
to root against.
I think his work as a babyface.
He has the ability to make you love him with a promo, right? And just feel what he can make you feel what he wants you to.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Then we get a highly rated TNT title ladder match, and then we're hearing from Mark Briscoe. He's out in the ring. He said he came close to becoming the TNT champion, but Jack Perry got lucky and got the win. He said that was last week, but he's worried about this week because he's not living in the past and all that stuff. This week is Shark Week. He says when he thinks about sharks, he thinks about blood, and that gets him to Blood and Guts. He's the first man for Team AEW for Blood and Guts against the Elite. Perry jumps in from behind with the TNT title. Kyle O'Reilly comes in, makes a save, starts kicking Perry in the corner, but he gets nailed with a Rainmaker. Okada comes in from behind. Bucks arrive. EVP triggered a Briscoe, but the Acclaimed chase them off, and the Elite escape through the crowd. And then as the music's playing, Okada's DJing on his belt.
Did.
Even though he does not, that's like just the smallest thing. But
and it wasn't even featured. It was kind of like as he's
just in passing
amongst the crowd, right? And
he's
kind
just
of buried in there, but you can see him doing it.
Oh, I love him.
Clearly, AEW has realized people love Briscoe promos.
Oh, I do. I admittedly do.
So that's always entertaining. And I liked the attack after because to me, it's kind of like Perry is the hothead, right? Who attacks without thinking.
Yeah.
And then Okada's the more cerebral,
cool, calm, collected, beat him up.
Dude, like I'll come in and help you, but like
you gotta
clean up the young kid's mess, basically, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. I really like that dynamic. I'm kind of done with the Acclaimed in this orbit right now.
I'm fine with it.
But I mean, any Okada time is good, and Briscoe being an AEW member, I guess makes sense.
It works.
But he's a Ring of Honor guy.
Yeah, whatever. I think it works, and like he seems like the kind of guy that would gel well in the Blood and Guts setting.
Yes,
so that there's that too.
He will do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I like this. I always like his promos and for the story. I think him as a teammate it makes sense because he's like uber babyface and he's already established a disdain for Jack Perry. And again, he fits the match type. And I like the Elite dynamic. I like them a lot. I love Okada every time. Perry, just with his stupid little faces.
Yeah,
also
they
funny.
Work well.
I'd be surprised if the Acclaimed aren't in the match.
I guess it's not what I want, but
or like Kyle O'Reilly.
It looks like that's what we're getting.
Or Kyle O'Reilly's kind of tied up with the UK as well.
True.
Which poor guy.
Yes, poor guy.
Then we get a Tony Storm interview. Renee mentions Mariah May is facing Shida.
Dust off Shida.
Hikaru Shida for the Women's tournament.
Yep.
Yeah. For the semifinals on Rampage.
Yep.
Storm says she is dangerous. She'll love May, win or lose. She'll be there. Mina's watching via satellite. They do the catchphrase. This was fine. It didn't really.
She makes
anything.
May do the catchphrase.
Did she make her?
I'm pretty sure.
I know May said it. I know she made it.
So this is back to like too much Tony Storm being featured, right? we seem to be the only ones who are not a huge fan of her character. I've been fine with it lately because it's been more about May and Shirakawa than Storm, but this was more Storm. So like it doesn't offend me or make me angry, but it's just not what I want. You know,
sure.
So it's fine.
More semifinals because we're deep in. It's Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander in the Owen Cup. So we get brawling on stage early as Willow's making her entrance. Statlander comes to meet her. Statlander gets pounced down the ramp, which is pretty cool.
She did. I thought this was I made a note. It's an unusual spot for a women's match on Dynamite. Progress ? It's not the usual location,
said that before.
Right? It's happened a couple times.
The answer is usually no.
Correct.
Suplex on the outside floor from Willow. Cannonball off the apron from Willow. Statlander connects with an axe kick for 2. Avalanche German suplex from Willow. Willow counters the Wednesday Night Fever into a pin for 2. Nice F5 from Statlander for 2.
It was.
The finish comes to Statlander, goes to hit Willow with a chain. She ducks. Stat almost hits Stokely. Willow rolls her up for the win.
Little surprised by the win.
Underwhelming.
And I feel like Statlander needs a win more. I don't know. It's tough. They both kind of need wins.
I'd rather Willow because then there's the chance I could see her winning the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Plus then I feel like you have to figure she's facing May, and I think Statlander May doesn't work with the heel.
Fair
and
enough.
heel. So I feel like, and like you can argue like Statlander kind of got distracted because she was trying to cheat or whatever. So like
she did.
I feel like we could run this back.
So I like the pre-match battle and just sort of Willow's viciousness to sell kind of the personal nature of this,
it feels earned.
Which I like. I thought the match was good, a physical match, better than a lot of women's matches we get on Dynamite. And I think that's kind of a testament to some long-term storytelling that doesn't happen very often.
It's that,
outside
and also
of the
just
title.
These two are also really good in the ring, right?
And it's that like they're actually giving attention to something not in the title scene, right? Which is rare. Thought the match was a bit short, but it feels like this may continue outside of the tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe Statlander costs Willow in the finals.
Exactly what I was thinking.
And lead to another match, longer.
Yeah.
Maybe in a better spot for these two.
She cost Willow that, so then we could build to that at All In, which would be really cool to have like a non-title women's match there.
That makes sense.
And then you do May and Storm for the title match.
Yeah, so I like this match. It needs more time, and it'll probably get that in the future. So I thought it was good.
I'm wondering if we can maybe get Hayter returning.
That would be nice. That's what we need next.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she'd return there or not. I don't know what the deal with her is.
I don't either.
I think she's been pretty quiet.
I think I looked it up before. Maybe I'll look it up again.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I thought it was another quality match. So far the show's been doing well on the in-ring side of things. Will look good here. I thought my only complaint is I would have wished she kind of won more definitively, but that might just be to tell the story here. So I'm not going to follow it too much. Thought the rest of the action was good, and I figured Willow was winning. And so, yeah, I think we get her versus May, which sounds pretty sweet. I feel like, yeah, May probably wins.
I think so.
To set up a Storm match, and whether that results in a turn or like a friendly rivalry or not,
yes,
that's their call. But we get that match, and then we get Statlander costing Willow in the finals to set up their match. And you could even add like a stipulation to that for All In if you want. If you want to really like sell it for the big show, you know what I mean?
Yep.
We get Renee interviewing Jarrett and co. Jarrett walks away. He does not speak. Lethal says he's more prepared than he's ever been, and he's honoring his fallen friend, Owen, middle name Hart. It was fine. I don't really care about Jarrett, but Lethal sounded solid, and it's cool. I get what they're doing, but like at the same time, do we gotta?
So I said, I get doing this for Jarrett, but it doesn't mean that I have to be
sweet.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
it's a nice gesture.
I appreciate that they do things like that, but
he didn't speak, which was nice, and I feel like he's aged since we last saw him a little bit. But that happens.
I feel like he's aged too much to be here, but okay.
Yeah.
Next we hear from Britt Baker. She comes out and she's in the ring. She said she thought way too long about what she was going to say, but she's just going to talk. She said, we all have a past, present, future. Past is our lesson, present is a gift, and the future is your motivation. She said back in November, she was banged up and running on empty. Every time she looked in the mirror, she'd say she's good, until one day she wasn't. She said one day she felt really sick. The room was spinning. Her vision was blurry. She said her right arm was tingling, and she couldn't open a bottle of water. And she suffered basically with something like that's like they call it mini stroke.
TIA.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I can't remember, but I had literally looked up TIA because somebody else was talking about it. I had looked it up like a few days before just to know what it, and it's basically, yes, a predictor of a stroke most of the time.
Yeah,
which is
it was like her right side wasn't really working or something. Yeah, for sure. She said she needed to stay home. She needed to get herself right. And Tony Khan said to just like let him know, which of course TK, because you know it's TK.
Yep.
Baker said she's here, she's cleared, and she's healthy. She said she was never more nervous than she was on Sunday night before she came out of Forbidden Door. She said she didn't know if anybody would give a damn. And she said the fear of rejection is real. She said when she needed pro wrestling, AEW and the fans, they welcomed her back with open arms and D&D chants. She said at the end of the day, she's one of us. She said when you're going through a hard time, because, oh yeah, we're all dentists. She said when you
amateur dentist.
Yeah, you're going through a hard time.
No credentials. I do it in my spare time.
I'm a hobbyist.
That's right.
Yeah. When you're going through a hard time, go through that shit, be present and feel all of it. That sounds unpleasant. Baker said it'll feel that much better when you get to the other side. We all possess the impulse to be elite. Then I'm gonna ring up Okada and be like, yo.
Would you say we're all elite?
Okay.
I am a dad, right? So these things just come through naturally.
Baker said, speaking of elite, which she's not in the group, so I don't know why, unless we're foreshadowing.
We're all elite.
No, because she said, speaking of elite, and then she starts talking about Monet. So is that foreshadowing?
I mean, there was an interaction later,
exactly. Right? The fans booed, of course. Baker said, it must feel great to call herself that. She mentioned CEO, saying, like, basically how she must have worked so hard, but then she even mentioned like Monet shoehorning into her theme. I was like, yeah, exactly.
Heck yes,
because DMD, that's over naturally.
Yes,
that's why I like that. But like CEO is just feels like it's been
Remember
shoved
I
down my
called
throat
it.
From
I said now Baker's got a thing, and that's a big deal. The gesture / the DMD.
That's always been, but that just kind of came about. Like she just did that. She wasn't like forcing it in.
Well, Monet staples it onto everything, right?
Yeah. Say hello to your CEO. I was like, crap.
And she's wearing jewelry with it. It's in her hair. Like, it's
the
a lot.
Knuckle dusters.
It's a lot.
Yeah. We get a video on the Tron. Black SUV's pulling up. Of course, it's Monet with both belts. She's greeted by the Bucks, who say Matt says our celebration's ready, and Nick is saying she's a CEO they can get behind.
I like those the segments bleeding together a little bit.
So then we get photos of Monet and balloons getting put up while Baker's still in the ring.
Still in the ring. Yeah. That's funny.
But Baker is still there. Monet's music hits. She comes out. She's dancing around. Whatever. She makes her entrance. All that junk.
And she's a heel.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hurrah.
She told Chicago it's time to celebrate with your double champ. Baker said she outshined Monet's moment at Forbidden Door, so she's outshining she's outshining Baker here. Monet bragged about being a double champion because she said that she had to say that about like 50 times.
Yeah.
She said she should have known that Britt would come out there to steal the spotlight. Oh, I knew. 2 seconds.
You did know. You did.
But still, I did. I told you so.
You have psychic abilities, but only
it comes in at like the last
2
moment
seconds,
to the point where it's
useless.
like borderline not helpful. It's
right.
like I could tell you like we're driving home. I could tell you when we're getting into a car accident,
right.
but like it's already kind of happening. Yeah. So it's like it's useless.
Yeah.
Psychic powers.
Yeah.
She said she was here to give Baker and the fans a look at a real star. She said Baker talked about wrestling first all in while Monet sat up in the stands like a broke bitch with a broken leg. Baker said that she wants to face Monet at all in, and Monet kind of shoved her off. She said there's a long line of girls looking for a shot, so get to the back of the line, bitch. And then Baker said, bitch, what line? They said bitch a lot.
They did.
Which it's a blood feud. And Monet said there's a price to pay when you mess with Mercedes Monet. I feel like you should just say Monet because then it flows better. You know what I mean? Like there's a price to pay when you mess with Monet.
Yep.
Boom.
Way better. So I don't know about you, but this immediately feels like an important feud and a big match. Right. I thought Britt coming out, the health update was really nice. Like her being vulnerable and whatever, I thought was really good because she is better as a heel generally, but I thought she was strong here. And I thought that the promo she cut on Monet was all accurate, effective, and places Monet as the heel.
Yeah, I feel like her theme, especially the CEO thing, that's super shoehorned. I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. Her interaction with the Elite should lead to Monet, I'm talking about here, joining them.
I've been saying that for a long time.
The fit is just too good to ignore. You suggested it first, and it 100% fits.
It 100% works.
Could it fit more? Right?
It's like a glove.
And I did like the celebration setup while Britt was in the ring. However, at the end of the day, that was not a celebration. It was her and
I guess
Britt.
It was supposed to be in like, I guess the wasn't the plan or something.
And I like the edge from Baker in her comments. Already feels important to me, which has been lacking from this division a lot of the time. Quick, effective segment. Monet is where she belongs as a heel. We've got a returning baby face that everyone wants to see and feels for because she had some serious health problems. So this is a program I'm bought in right away. I think this is great.
Yeah. I thought this was solid and it was a good comeback for Baker. Much like what we heard from Deeb, there's a lot of real stuff in here. I like that. I think she got a bit of a better reception than Deeb, obviously, but
she's a bigger name as much as we love Deeb.
She dealt with a lot more than I think we all thought, so I'm glad she's good and back and doing well and whatever.
Definitely.
And I'm sure like between her and her stuff in the injury, her and Cole had some nice downtime, so that hopefully that's nice for them at least. It seems like her versus Monet is the play, and that would be also a huge women's match to have on.
It would.
All in. I feel like if we line up this, May Storm and Willow Statlander for all in, you have a great triple header of women's matches.
I will be very happy with that.
I feel like that has to be what you put all those on a big show like that. I think that's a really good get for them, and that's an improvement for the women's division for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think that's like kind of one of the benefits of having the TBS title is like you can have like a title match that's like big deal, but not like the top deal.
Yeah.
And then you have like the non-title match that's like a blood feud, and that works. So I think you'd have a bit of everything. But between the crowd reactions and how many came in and talked to the Bucks, it seems like they're embracing the heel persona more and more, which is what we want. Kind of like how we need the edge of Swerve back. We need heel Monet. I thought the Baker Monet exchange was pretty good. I think thanks in large part to Monet sounding a lot better as a heel and Baker having like some sharp jabs back. I think they did a solid job kicking off this build, and I think it's worth noting, they kind of started teasing Monet in the Elite, and I think they need to do it.
They do.
The Elite can have a female member, and then they can kind of run every division. And if
she already has multiple belts, it just works so well.
Exactly. It's been perfect. They just need to pull the trigger on it.
Agree.
Then we get highlights of the Forbidden Door main event, and we cut to an Ospreay interview. Callis comes into frame before Ospreay can speak. He said he has loyalty to Don for some of the matches he said for Will in the past. He talks about like the Omega match and Jericho and all the things Don's helped him with. He said, but things have changed and he's not that guy anymore, and he wants out of the Don's Callis family for good. Don says he's proud of him and what he's done with his life, and he's happy to do him the favor, but one day he'll ask him for a favor.
Right.
And he hugged him. He kind of had like a weird look on his face, so it'd be interesting. And then they left, and Ospreay just kind of like was breathing.
And even Fletcher and Ospreay, there was a little bit of a look there, like Fletcher disapproving
I feel like
a little.
I feel like he's conflicted because
maybe that's what he was selling.
I liked it. Ospreay sounded really genuine here, and I liked his calm delivery. And then Callis is uncharacteristically calm in his demeanor as well, which I think is obvious. Like the Callis family's gunning for Ospreay pretty soon.
Well, and evil Callis only agrees because I feel my interpretation was he knows he can't stop Ospreay from leaving, so he's going to be gracious. But then it's that whole "you owe me a favor." Like I'll
exactly.
let you out,
he just kind of got him back right immediately.
Guess what? You're going to owe me one.
I could see them gunning for Ospreay, and then Takeshita takes that belt buster.
I felt Ospreay maybe exaggerated some of Callis's influence, but
embellishing.
To contrast what you're going to hear me talking about in NXT, this is how adults behave. Right? Like going up and saying, listen, I appreciate what you've done for me, but I'm done. Right? This is adults having a normal interaction.
Yeah, it felt realistic, right?
So I like that. That will not happen a lot in NXT this week.
No, you get schoolgirls.
That's right.
I wrote Jericho yay.
A Jack's visceral response. Why? You just go, why?
Every time his music hits, I'm just like, do we have to?
Yeah,
I'm gonna mega summarize this because I don't want to.
Do it.
He's annoyed at Taz for cheering Hook's win, and Hook stole his finish. So Taz is barred from the arena. Jericho replaces him on commentary just to spite me. So yeah. All I said was, if the Bucks want heel heat, this is genius.
Okay, so Jericho used the terms marks, gimmicks, and stealing finishes. So these are not things I like being mentioned on wrestling shows.
And he also said that doesn't work for me, brother.
It makes me dislike this more.
Yeah. Behind the curtain a little much.
I don't like it.
Nope.
Still don't like it.
We roll right into Joe, Hook, and Shibata against the Cage of Agony.
Yeah, of course.
Real life Prince.
That's right.
And a real life machine.
That's right. And
which is why they call him Cage.
I feel like in this, people were waiting for Joe, Toa, Leona to match up.
They just want the meat fights.
Couple of big lads.
I'd rather Joe Cage because Cage is a beefy boy too.
Yeah. And somebody on commentary said, Samoa and Toa rhyme, hey. And I was like, oh, God.
Who do you think said that?
Nigel.
Jericho.
Yeah.
100% Jericho.
Probably.
No, because even the laugh is 100% Jericho because he's just saying stupid. Like, that's something him and Big Bill would say right now because they just say stupid shit like that.
I think, and maybe we've said this before, I think he thinks he's being really clever because he's taking all the criticisms that people...
It just makes me hate it more.
Stupid wrestling fans or the internet wrestling community have, and he's turning it into something. But it's just like, now you're just antagonistic towards the people who watch your stuff. And it's not funny. It's not well done. It's just...
Yeah.
I feel like he thinks he's like getting over on the fans because you say I do this, so I'm going to acknowledge it in my
go away
character.
Heat. We've said that.
Yeah,
I don't. It's not like Heat where like it's effective. It's not like MJF where I'm like,
no, it's
I hate you, but like it's I hate this.
And I still feel like Big Bill is not committed. Like he's like, I'll do this, but I don't like it, and that's just me projecting probably. But
I don't know. I don't even care. A lot of meat chants when Joe and Leona are going at it early on. It makes me chuckle. Leona goes for a pop-up Samoan drop, but Shibata counters into a sleeper. Hook, hot tag flurry. Gut check on Hook from Khan for 2. Double team spinebuster from Gates of Agony on Hook for 2. Joe breaks the pin. Leona pounces Joe. Series of corner moves to Leona from the faces. Hook and Shibata him with a double suplex and the Joe senton for 2. Joe and company do the stereo chokes and they get the win. Long story short, they get jumped by the learning tree after Shibata's arm gets chaired. Hook gets brass knuck, chokes him through a table.
And the detail, I don't know if you mentioned it, but Taz was banned, right? For
so I was saying earlier, yeah.
What was he banned for?
Because he was being biased.
Oh, right, biased commentary. So I thought it was a solid trios match, but not up to usual AEW standards. Jericho added nothing but annoyance on commentary for me. I do enjoy Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I think they have something with that trio. I really enjoy this
trio, yeah, for sure.
But they need to get away from this angle with Jericho, right?
Speaking of trios, where's Bang Bang Gang? I want more I know I saw Jay Way last week, but I want more Bang Bang Gang.
That's what they do. They tease us with some trio stuff, and then they just stop.
I don't even want trios. I just want Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah. Post-match attack with Taz Band makes sense, but it doesn't add to my interest. Commentary, I was a little confused. Say that nobody will come and help for fear of reprisal from the EVPs because the EVPs are closely linked to Cage of Agony?
No,
I don't
understand.
Jericho. To Jericho?
They just did him a favor.
I guess. So yeah, whatever. The match happened. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I had more to say, but I'm not going to. I don't want to.
Okay.
Next we get Jeff Jarrett versus the Wild Card in the Owen Hart Cup quarterfinals.
And I got spoiled on this because I saw his new theme was posted.
He got all the way to the quarterfinals without an identity. Well,
crazy.
Congratulations. Just great work. As expected, it's indeed Nagman, Adam Page.
Heel Nagman.
Big time heel. New theme entrance is definitely different and darker. I'm not thrilled they changed his theme again, but it's a lot better than the last time they tried to change it. Like, it's clearly inspired by his last theme, and it's made by, I think, Vincent Padula's his name, he's the guy who's responsible for my favorite theme ever. So,
which is what?
Hangman's.
Oh, okay.
Like
I didn't know if you were referring to that or Bang Bang Gang.
No, not quite.
Okay.
But like, he's responsible for, because Hangman's theme, obviously, which is acknowledged as a work of art. And then,
objectively,
you noticed when they changed it. That's the feather in the cap.
That is airtight evidence.
You not only noticed, but dare I say, we're also irritated when they changed this theme. So that's
fair.
That's the thing for me.
That's good evidence.
And
prosecution rests.
They also remember the Dark Order Elite tag match at the one Dynamite with the big entrance.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a slightly different Hangman theme, and that was also the same guy. So it's made by him. So I'll take it as like if we want to go like more heel Hangman, I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Honestly, I think we were in agreement over like, I don't think you ever needed to change the theme if you didn't want to.
No, but hopefully if he ever switches back, they bring it back.
Obviously, yeah. If they don't ever go back to it, I think I'll cry myself to sleep every night.
Fair.
Relentless beatdown early on from Hangman. He was also wearing like the longer pants instead of tights.
If you say so.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Like, you say so.
Like, for the kind of like the bell bottoms at the bottom or something like that.
Maybe.
Like kind of like Seth Rollins orange. Like
I watched it.
Like when Seth Rollins WrestleMania gear this year, where he wore like the pants instead of the tights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or when he had the Elton John orange pants at Clash of the Castle against Riddle 2 years ago.
Wow. You got problems.
And I
hate
it.
You need to free up some space.
I hated it because he didn't wear kick pads. And I'm like, you gotta do that.
That's what I was saying to Paul. Is you need to use this ability to remember things for something useful, because Paul was like, a buddy of mine was just like, man, I listened again, and you guys, he's like, we're speaking a different language, right? Sorry, sidebar.
Yeah.
When I went back and listened to old episodes, like I listened to episode 1, we also treated it like, we started out treating it like, because I assumed the only people that were going to listen were people we know, and nobody we know watches wrestling. So I was like, and we'll start out by like explaining the terms as they come up. And then we just stopped and went like, whatever. Figure it out. Or
they can figure it out. They can look
hopefully
it up.
wresling fans start listening, and then we don't have to define.
They can figure it out.
Because we're like, a heel is this, and a baby face is this. And like,
yeah.
No.
Which is always just weird to explain. Cause it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it is its own jargon.
It's got its own lexicon.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. I remember Jericho did something with a lexicon back when he was Le Champion.
I hope I used that word right.
I don't know. I don't know how to use that word.
I took a swing, okay?
Okay. There's a relentless beatdown early on from Hangman. Leg drop over the middle rope from Jarrett, goes for it again, but Hangman clocks him with the lariat. Powerbomb on the apron from Hangman. Strike exchange on the apron. Later on, Jarrett hits a stroke on the apron, which looks solid. Enziguri from Jarrett for 2. Deadeye from Hangman. Jarrett avoids a buckshot, gets him the sharpshooter. Hangman gets a rope break. Buckshot and another Deadeye for the win. Hangman, this was solid. I thought he looked like a beast.
And the Deadeyes, they got good angles on, so they both looked. And the way Jarrett just sort of crumples, I thought it looked really good.
They did an effective job establishing him as a heel again. New presentation is all around solid, I think.
Yep.
They did a solid job of doing some hope spots from Jarrett too, even though I didn't really care and he didn't have a shot. But like, again, I appreciate what they're doing. Hangman versus Switchblade on Collision is gonna make me watch that, which I hate because I don't want to. It's too much work.
You got to go find it and make time for it.
I'll watch Hangman Switchblade any day of the week.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird because they're positioning Jarrett as a babyface
It's a temporary thing. It's kind of like how they just like. It's like how when MJF's in New York, even when he was a heel, they just accept it. You know what I mean?
And so his motivations for the tournament, plus putting him against the returning heel, right? So I don't feel sympathy for Jarrett getting his ass beat here. But anyways.
I don't feel sympathy, but I liked it.
And then the moment was him getting a sharpshooter for a minute on Hangman, right? Like, that's cool for him.
Yep.
I found Hangman returning here to be a little bit strange and underwhelming. I feel like it should be a bigger deal and in a bigger spot, maybe.
I'm happy. I'm
happy he's back. Solid match, maybe a bit too long for Hangman to beat Jarrett.
Well, then I ask you, what do we do with the Owen tournament? Because we're at a crossroads. Because obviously, there's no chance Switchblade wins. I love the guy, but he's not winning. So it comes down to Hangman and Danielson. And to me, like...
Danielson?
I'd rather Hangman and Swerve it all in, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I like the story they've been telling with Danielson, and I do want him to go out with this big match, and I like that. But, like... it's too perfect that they set up the possible scenario of Hangman Swerve on like the biggest stage possible, and like with all the history they've had, you're telling me that's not a main event worthy match for that?
In a way, they already kind of blew it because Hangman's whole thing was you will never, ever, ever, ever touch.
Well, then
that
now
title.
That's why he's back in the tournament, because he's hell bent on taking it away from him.
I guess.
I mean, yes, he did fail in that goal, but
Danielson's also on the I'm not going to be happy just putting people over now. I'm here to win.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, which one of those prevails? Because I really don't know. Like, if this was a pay-per-view match and I'm predicting it, I don't know.
So at least that leads to an awesome match between those two to figure it out.
And it'll be on Dynamite, so we don't have to catch it on Collision.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I really don't know, like...
That's good. When we really don't know the outcome of matches, that's good stuff.
Personally speaking, I would much prefer Hangman Swerve at all. And just because, like, I just think the feud's there. And it's like, you think about, like, a WrestleMania feud, kind of, right? Like, Cody and Roman, like, it's this big drawn-out thing, and, like, they have a lot of history or something like that, right? And I just feel like Hangman Swerve warrants that kind of spot. And I'm not saying Swerve Danielson doesn't either, but it's just, to me...
But where do you go with Swerve and Hangman after... that last match?
I don't know.
Like, how do you...
But I feel like you have... Like, I agree with what you're saying, but at some point you have to...
drank the man's blood, literally.
At some point you have to cross that bridge, though, because I feel like that's... that feud can't be just done at that. You know what I mean?
Well, and so, that like, can be... like, at the age of those two, that feud can be going on
exactly.
for years,
and so too. I think, like, regardless of the question of how do you top that match, how do you do better, like, you're going to have to try at some point, or they're going to have to do something at some point. And to me, I think part of topping that would be doing it on, again, the biggest stage
big
possible.
Show. Yeah, that's so in the main event.
Personally speaking, as also a fan of Hangman, I'm leaning towards Hangman Swerve, but it could go either way, and it'd be interesting.
Can't miss. Either way, we're getting
that's true. That is
match,
true.
Right?
That the upshot is that like there's really no bad outcome. I mean, even if it happened to be Switchblade Swerve, I'd like that too. So there's really no way to lose here. It won't be. It won't be. It won't be. But I'm just saying, and in a hypothetical scenario. Yep. Anyways, Hook gets fireballed by the Wizard. That's all I had to say. Nothing really.
My note says poor Hook. Because he's just involved in this.
Yeah.
Right? Just when you're starting to like Hook and he's starting to win you over, it's like now you got to deal with Jericho.
I feel like Hook's hair looks really flammable too, so...
dangerous.
Yeah. They're going to Hangman promo. He gets cut off by the Bucks. Matt says they lifted his suspension, and it's like, if you scratch our backs, we'll scratch yours.
Nope.
He asks Hangman to be the Elite's fifth man for Blood and Guts. Hangman grabs him by the collar and says he's not a child anymore. He's not the Elite's man anymore. He's done with their bullshit. He says he's in the Owen, and he will win the Owen. He shoves Nick out of his way and storms off.
I like it, doing the lone wolf thing. Like, I don't have any alliances with anyone. And I'm not stupid. I remember you guys, and I'm not coming back, right?
So. I like that, because I thought it might be like he works with them, and here's what I'm thinking. So like I like this, because I kind of assumed Hangman would kind of align with them, but I like that that's not the case. It makes sense. He's not letting go of all the extensive history they have, and I like that, and I really like this angry Hangman. It's I'm intrigued to see where it goes. It's interesting, and it's like, because he was kind of healing it up before, but it was kind of like a little more nuanced, I feel like, and so now it's like a little more straightforward, and I like it. It's more aggressive, and I'm interested.
Yep.
And I think so. He's obviously in the Owen to get to Swerve, and regardless of the outcome, I feel like, because they already kind of teased it, once Swerve declares for Team AEW, Hangman's gonna join Blood and Guts. Regardless of whether he's aligned with the Elite or not,
right.
Swerve's gonna join Blood and Guts, and Hangman's gonna want it
just to get a shot at him. Okay.
I think that's what has to happen, because I think Hangman as the fifth man makes more sense than anyone else.
And Hangman could like almost reluctantly be doing it, and in the match like not work with.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of like the heel team last year was Blackpool, and they were associated with Takeshi and Pac, two guys, like literally Claudio fought Pac the week after, right? Like they weren't actually affiliated. It was just they were all against the Elite, right? Yep. So it's kind of the same thing. And so, yeah, I feel like he'll align with them just for that, just to get back at Swerve, because they already kind of teased Swerve. Like Swerve's going to be like, he's going to be there, right?
I think so.
I feel like that's how you get Hangman in there, even though he's not joined with the Elite.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to our main event, which is Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia for the AEW International Championship. Early on, crowd count punches from Garcia. Ospreay gets out, nails that packet, like the under super kick, which I think he calls Cheeky Nando's.
Yes, it is.
And then that slingshot punch to the outside, which again does it better than anybody. It's one of those things, just simple, but you do it better. Hit his plancha. White's Uranagi, Okada's drop kick, Takeshi's forearms.
Although, what's his face born on NXT has a nice drop kick.
I mean, people did say he looks like Orton, and Orton had.
I think he looks like Orton. Yeah.
Orton had a good
Reminds me, reminiscent of Orton for sure.
A pair of twisting neckbreakers and a DDT that spikes Ospreay, followed by a third neckbreaker from Garcia for 2. Springboard forearm from Ospreay gets a 2 count as well. Side suplex from Garcia. Ospreay comes back with a Spanish Fly for 2. Powerbomb for 2. Right into a Styles Clash for another 2 count from Ospreay. Once again, that 1-2 there, which I really like. Garcia avoids a hidden blade, locks in a sleeper hold, which moves into a guillotine choke. Ospreay's able to power out. Garcia catches an Oz Cutter 10th, nails a pile driver for a near fall. MJF gives Garcia the Dynamite ring. We get a series of roll-ups. Garcia nails a lariat. When the finish comes, when again, MJF's urging him to use that ring. Garcia considers it, gives it back to MJF, gets absolutely blasted with the hidden blade, and Ospreay is able to retain here. Post-match, MJF and Garcia are like, he's praising Garcia and whatever. Low blow.
And I'm sitting there, do it. I can feel it coming, right? Do it. Because they couldn't do it in Long Island, obviously, because he's not going to get booed there.
Exactly.
So...
so he low blows Garcia. He takes out Menard, who tries to come in. Ring shot for Garcia. More ground and pound than a tombstone from the middle rope from MJF. And then MJF runs up and Ospreay comes back out, and he was beefing some people in the crowd, too.
Good beatdown, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really entertaining main event, as expected. Both of these guys are super crisp with their offense.
Yeah, I think Garcia comes out of this looking pretty good.
He does. Really good back and forth. Outcome is what was expected. Garcia has not been presented at this level, despite suddenly MJF and Ospreay
also,
noticing him. Also,
back-to-back losses would be kind of harsh for Ospreay.
Right. This match can help elevate Garcia, I guess, but at the end of the day, he lost another important match, which is kind of his storyline, right? My thoughts were main event action without a main event story attached, but fun to watch. And I'm happy both MJF and Monet have returned to their peak form, which I really appreciate, right? MJF is back to normal. I don't feel like the road to get there was the best, but at least we're there now. So I was happy with this main event, despite it maybe not having the feel.
Quality main event for sure. Yep. Ospreay never fails to deliver, so I'm never worried from the in-ring perspective when he's in there. And Garcia is really good in the ring. Regardless of how he's been presented, I think he's really good.
He is.
And they did a really good job of making him look like the fighting underdog, and I think that is where he's best. Kind of like Eddie. He also did a great job looking dead when MJ being down. Like, he was just bloody. He was like, you could see spit drilling out. Like, he looked dead. He was selling that amazingly.
For sure.
Wasn't the most surprising thing ever, but I will say, I was expecting them to keep MJF face to feud with Cole. So, I was asking you, now it feels like that's kind of dead.
Gone, maybe. And when's Cole back? I don't know.
I feel like, again, Cole comes back, Roddy ditches the kingdom, and then you do Undisputed Era, because that would be awesome.
It would.
Trios division. NXT never had that, so...
If they've dropped this, then... I just searched for Adam Cole, injury update from 3 hours ago.
Anything? Or is it just one of those clickbait bullshit things?
Regarding Adam Cole, because of the complexity of the injury, he's still a little time left out of action, but hopes it's not much longer.
Useless.
He is able to walk now, so that doesn't sound close.
He was walking already.
That doesn't sound
close. He took a brainbuster.
But anyways.
He's been walking. Without a brace, I don't know.
Maybe.
So with Prime Heel MJF, him versus Ospreay will be crazy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Crazy. I'm wondering if at All In, do we do MJF Garcia or MJF Ospreay?
I think Ospreay.
But then what do you do with Garcia? Is he just going to be out till
then?
They
always do. They just backburner him until they feel like, oh yeah, he's really good and we don't use him.
Yeah.
Let's heat him up for 3 weeks.
So we do MJF Ospreay. That would be a great match for All In for sure.
I think so.
And it wouldn't be too much of a step down for MJF since he main evented last year.
True. Really good opener and main event. Good women's match. Good Baker Monet segment. I said Learning Tree is the only real blemish, and it wasn't a huge problem for me. I gave this a B+. I thought it was an entertaining show, and we watched it all in one sitting. It kind of whipped by for me. With 3, I thought quality matches on it, right? And even the return of heel Hangman is obviously a big surprise too. So I thought it was a good show. I gave it a B+ this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think the in-ring was generally really strong. I think the 3 really good matches. The trios match was fine, and the heel Hangman back is awesome. I'm happy to see him back. And yeah, I think the only blemish, mainly segment-wise, was Jericho.
And it wasn't.
And when's it not?
A giant one. So
yeah, so B+ for sure.
Yep. All right, so now we'll finish up with Dynamite, move into some trivia segment we like to call Off the Top of His Head. Okay, so trivia this week. We're going with wrestlers who have the longest combined reigns as WWE champion. Okay? So I can give you the year the reign ended and the number of days it lasted, and you're going to tell me who it is.
Wait, if it's combined days, wouldn't it be more than one reign?
So it'll be the last one.
Oh.
We'll see how it goes. Might be hard. 2013, 378 days.
Punk?
No.
Cena?
No. This is going to be hard, I guess. Sorry. Rock.
Oh,
so this isn't going to go well, maybe?
I wouldn't have thought of that.
1998, 396 days.
Is this when it ended?
Mm-hmm.
Michaels?
Yes, very good. Okay, here we go. You're hitting your stride. So, again, 2013, 463 days.
Is that Punk?
That is Punk. Speak into your microphone, sir. 2018, 511 days.
Styles.
Correct. Okay, now we're getting there. 1992, 520 days. 92. So they're all going to be major stars, right? That won't be a hint that helps you. And he was one of my faves.
Flair?
Nope. One of my favorites.
I don't know.
From that era.
Shawn?
Nope.
Brett?
Nope. Macho.
Oh.
2001, 521 days. 29 days, sorry.
Austin?
Yes. 2016, 611 days.
This is their last run with the belt?
I think so, yeah. So whenever this was... Yes, Triple H. This was done in 2020, if it helps you. So I don't think Reigns will be on here. Actually, I can tell you he's not, because I'm looking at it. 97, 655 combined.
Brett?
Correct. There you go. Now you're getting the hang of it. 2017, 658 days combined.
Orton?
Correct. Damn.
Oh, they're missing is 20.
Yes.
21, yeah.
2020, 683 days.
Brock?
Correct. Old school would never have gotten this one. 73, 1,027 days. 73. So I know you know who number one is. It's not that, but it's that era. I don't even...
He would have lost in 73.
Mm-hmm.
Backlund?
Nope.
Pedro Morales?
Correct. Why? Why would you...
There's very few options with that many numbers.
I wouldn't have even remembered he had it. Well, obviously I wasn't born, believe it or not. 2017... We're getting in the big ones now. 1,257 days.
Cena?
Correct. This one I got, but only after a while, because it's one of those, like, you guess the names and fill it in. It's actually from Yard Barker. I should give them credit. 1994, 2,138. It's the 90.
Backlund?
Yeah, the 94 threw me off.
But yeah, that does make sense, because he was the transitional between Brett and Diesel.
Right. 2002. 2,185.
Hogan.
Correct. That's the second longest. And the longest...
Because that was the nostalgia run where they gave him one more shot.
And the longest is who?
Sammartino.
Do you know what his combined was?
No, it's something ridiculous.
4,040.
Yeah.
Ending in 77.
Well, because the one reign was 7 years alone.
Right. So you crushed it. You started out, I was like, oh no, is this going to be the first one where it's a dud and you don't know anything? But no, you ended up only missing a couple.
Once it makes sense to me, yes.
Along the way. So very good work. Now we'll switch back into talking more wrestling from the week that was. We call it Highspots and Restholds. Okay, so we'll try and get through this quick because you got some plans, some lads in town from out of town to see you for some reason. So quickly, talking about Raw. So the opening in-ring segment is Jey Uso and Gable. Nothing important. It's both like, I'm going to win. And then it's the aftermath. Did you see that with Gable?
Maybe.
So the Wyatt Six start messing with him.
No,
so
I didn't watch all of it.
He's basically trying to get out of the ring and get away, and he keeps going everywhere he goes. It's like a spotlight following him, which is kind of funny. But everywhere he turns, there's like one of the members of the Wyatt Six, like incredibly backlit with like bursting lights, so you just see their silhouette and you know who it is, but you don't actually see them. So he keeps kind of going different directions, and it's one there and one there, so he's kind of got nowhere to go, so he ends up escaping through the crowd. Nikki Cross shows up again in her new gear, drops off another VHS tape at commentary. And then later on, Gable is obviously still freaked out, so he goes and talks to Otis and is still trying to reunite with them because he needs help against the Wyatt Six, right? And Tozawa and Dupree come to sort of check on Otis as that was happening. The Cross stuff with New Day continues, so Cross lost to Woods.
Carrying Cross this time.
Correct. Right. We've come a long way from Vince never having duplicate names, eh? Cross dominated. Woods caught him with an inside cradle. AOP beat down Woods and Kofi after. I still don't really care about this. The jungle, because I used to go JB for Jungle Boy, so JD for Judgment Day, Jungle Day, Judgment Day update. So Dom is basically, he's talking to Priest and he's going, no, I think Rhea's fine with all of this Liv stuff. And Priest is like, actually, I've talked to her and she isn't okay with all of it, right? So getting that ball rolling. Balor tells Priest, it might have been a later segment, I can't remember, that the Priest has changed since he won the title. He's like, because we're brothers, I can tell you this, like, you've changed. I've still got your back, whatever, but you're not the same dude. I thought it was good. Again, like actual people talking to each other, right? And the problem is for me is just Priest is not super convincing, right? If he were better,
I haven't felt the run a lot.
Like I'm still liking all of the stuff, but he's not very good, to be honest. And I thought Balor was better than him.
He's fine.
Liv faced Vega. Again, this storyline continues. So Dom slides a chair into the ring, supposedly trying to help Vega. Vega grabs the chair and hits Dominic with it instead. And then Liv Morgan capitalizes on that with the Oblivion for the win. So the story, right, is Dom tried to help Vega but screwed things up and actually helped Liv instead. And was it on purpose? Who's he helping? Etc., etc. Makes sense. Still interesting. Think it's a good story. Did you see Drew McIntyre in his t-shirt this week? The DM Hunk t-shirt.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty funny.
I like that.
He cut another good promo. He's going to win Money in the Bank and take out anyone that gets in his way, like he took out Punk.
He's my boy.
As we've got him up on top of the ladder here with the briefcase. Zoe Stark qualified for Money in the Bank. Pretty basic triple threat. It was Kai and Ivy Nile.
So she can get in, but not Baszler. That's whack.
Dakota Kai's forgotten how to wrestle, and Ivy Nile has not improved. So this I didn't think was very good. Dakota Kai, like, she was good at one point.
She was really good.
And Ivy Niles just, like, stayed the same. Like, she looks cool and she can do a couple things, but still, all the in-between stuff, you can see her looking for things, and it's just awkward anyways. So the other notable that I thought you would talk about was Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy again together.
Again, fantastic. And, like, I don't remember specifically what this one was, but, like, this one, they kind of, like...
I made a few notes.
At the end, they kind of merge into one, or, like, you can see Bo Dallas is just there by himself, and so I think really honing on the fact that this is a split personality kind of thing,
which leads me to praise. It's one of my notes. It's amazing how easy it is to forget that this is the same person talking to himself, right? It's him talking to him. Sure, and I think the man can actually act, right? And a lot of wrestlers
he's been telling this really well. But yeah, like they were talking about more of the same stuff last week, and like he basically explained why they're going after Gable, because like the false,
which I liked,
was like false prophets going, like turning on their family or something like that.
So he talked about his group were not, I like this line too, that they weren't chosen, they were just willing. So it's like, I don't have a lot of options to join this family, right? So it's not like I picked them, they were just willing to do it. And he said, but since then we've become a family. And his motivation is people who are disrespectful to their families. And the first one is Gable. So I kind of like that. That's what we thought they were going, and it was a little bit.
Yeah.
And so the thing with Bo Dallas that I like better than Bray was too far into the cryptic, and it wasn't enough substance there for me sometimes.
That's
so
fair.
Dallas is walking that line, but I am getting that substance of, okay, you consider this a family because they were willing to join, and now you're tight, and you have a problem with people because all he wanted was to be with his brother and his family.
But now he can't.
Now people that are turning on families are being disrespectful to families. That is a personal thing to him, and he's gonna smite them or whatever. I think that's cool, and we'll see where it goes.
And the editing work in these are really cool too.
Yes, another like engaging segment.
Yeah,
right? And I'm not the target audience for this stuff, and I'm really enjoying it.
I really like it.
So that bodes well.
It's like my favorite thing I look forward to from them.
I'm happy to like it with you because I've some of the stuff previously it's too far.
I miss like it. I really like this. It takes me back to like OG Funhouse because that was awesome. So I'm really happy this is turning out. At least like Bray's legacy does live on.
And it's moving
somehow.
at the right pace. They're not throwing them in meaningless matches and stuff.
They're like interspersing them with Gable, which
keeping the mystique,
a point.
But they have a clear pattern.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if like we'll get more Dallas next week, or if we'll see like Rowan or something. Because I'd like to see that.
So yeah, it's going to be people who have screwed over other people that they're targeting.
I'm trying to think who else would like. I guess if you wanted to like establish them as heels, you go after Jay because in his eyes he turned his back on his family and went against them.
Yep.
So like I feel like you could easily go for Jay because right now Gable's heel, so it's kind of like almost Bo's righteous in doing this, right?
That's right.
So then I feel like if you want to establish them as like a killer heel group, which I feel like would make more sense.
It would, but I feel like they could just be like their own thing.
That I'm okay with too. Yeah.
And anybody that turns on anybody is now.
Yeah, and so I feel like
target.
You could go after Jay for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know who else applies to this motif, but
Jay
they'll
find
a
way. Sami Zayn, what did Bailey call him by his real name last night?
Remy
But he said Remy was his real name, but she called him something else.
No, I think that's what
and
it
then
was.
He corrected it to Sami. Was it Remy?
Yeah.
Because I know he said Remy's my real... Anyways.
That's why he was saying that.
So Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker face-to-face in the ring, leads to physicality. Braun hits a spear, but then he goes for another one of the running ones around ringside, and Zayn leapfrogs over it, and Braun runs himself into the steps.
Which would definitely hurt with how much he runs.
Right. And I like the dynamic here. Zayn's the champion, but it's almost like he feels like the underdog the way Braun's been presented, which is a better role for Sami, right?
Which works, yeah. I'm not sure who would win.
I agree.
I could see Sami retaining, and maybe they don't want to quite pull the trigger yet.
Same.
But I could see them pulling the trigger.
I agree. So another match I don't know for sure. It's working for me. I'm interested to see the match because of that, right? And then I told you I finally got around to the main event. I thought it was awesome. Triple threat main event. Drew McIntyre advances to the Money in the Bank match with a sudden Claymore to Sheamus after Dragunov had been taken out on the floor. This was what you would expect, right? Just awesome, hard hitting. Really enjoyed it. I put it on my list as a TV match that I thoroughly enjoyed. So I know you haven't seen it, but if you ever circle back around, it's... I was just telling you, Dragunov just makes everything better.
Dragunov is one of those undeniable talents. Like, that's even what Meltzer was saying, is that's when Trick looked good, was against Dragunov.
Right.
But then you throw him in with, like, even no offense, he said Mello.
Agreed.
Melo's great.
I thought the chemistry with them was not there.
Or, like, Trick and even Ego. And I think Ethan Page is good, too.
Dragunov's ability and his intensity, it's all just fresh matchups.
Him and Gunther are just, like, kind of like that.
Undeniable. Just awesome. NXT... I didn't watch TNA, so this will be my last little bit. Michin and Jada Parker had a street fight.
Talk about that spot.
Which spot?
Michin.
I have stuff written down, so we'll get to. I don't know what you're... Oh, yeah. Fun, fast-paced weapons match that over-delivered for me. Both women took a lot of punishment, some real chances that kind of worked out. And I guess Michin's in this role to elevate younger talent. Officials are clearly high on Parker, as am I, so this made sense to me. We had trash cans, kendo sticks, chairs. Michin even uses her belt at one point to whip Parker. Parker does that corner butt drop thing, but onto a trash can underneath. The impact wasn't as satisfying as it could have been. Michin dives.
I'm picturing that being really good.
Oh yeah, Michin. This is what you meant.
Just
Michin goes to
shit on a chair.
Dive onto Parker sitting in a chair on the floor, right? And Michin dives. Parker moves, and it looked crazy. The landing when Michin dives.
Yeah,
into
she
this
went
chair.
like full on head first, like kind of a Darby
awesome.
style. You know.
And then immediately after that, Parker goes to run through Michin, and Michin moves, and Parker goes through the barricade. So both of those spots look good. Parker, we come back from break, and Parker has I think it was that way around. Parker has a hammer in Michin's mouth and is like pulling on her mouth.
I remember when Orton had a screwdriver and he was sticking in Jeff Hardy's ear holes?
That was gross. I did not like that.
I like that.
Michin dumps, she has the classic bag of tacks, but it's not tacks, it's like nuts and washers. She dumps that onto a pile of chairs. But since Michin entered like hardware stuff, nuts and bolts.
Okay. That's still weird.
But because she introduced it, she ends up getting backdropped onto them, onto a chair. Kendo stick attack to Parker, then a trash can over her as she sits in the corner, and Michin hits a cannonball into the trash can. Parker uses a fire extinguisher to stop a lead pipe attack. Hip attack sends both crashing through a wall. Parker drags Michin back in the ring, hits the hypnotic, they're calling it, which is her not so great.
It is kind of funny, though.
Yeah. Good match, man. Like, over-delivered, for sure. My next one says, Petrovic Tomb Raider with Ariana Grace in the locker room.
What does that even mean?
She was dressed like Tomb Raider. She looked like Tomb Raider to me. Like Lara Croft or whatever it is. Anyways, Grace is mad about losing to Sol Ruka. She makes Petrovic hear about it. Grace says Petrovic is not as Canadian as she is.
Are they both Canadian?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Nix and Jane come in to mean girl it up before leaving Petrovic.
Like people talk.
And challenges the two of them. And just like, I don't care if it's... Oh, no, that's later. Sorry. And again, these are the staple segments. Locker room, mean girls, etc., etc. People talk, interrupt, disagree, repeat. It's kind of... I wasn't a fan of NXT this week. It'll probably come through. Kalani Jordan package about all of her athletic accomplishments.
No one does it like Lonnie. That's what I've been told.
She sounds good in the pre-recorded stuff like this, but not in general. Athletic credentials are amazing. And she says she'll make it happen in her match with Ruka at Heatwave. Hank and Tank took on Bate and Dunn.
Yeah, my boy.
Tank wears a motorcycle helmet to the ring now. Not like the full face, but like the turtle shell one. I put Hank's unbuttoned shirt is distracting. Like he's wearing a button-up shirt, unbuttoned while wrestling. It's like flowing around and flapping.
He used to wear it like that too.
Yeah, I don't love it. Hank and Tank do some Smash Mouth double team stuff, like a pounce into a suplex. Dunn takes Hank out on the floor with a stomp. Bate hits a twisting splash thing, whatever he calls
Spiral
that.
Tap.
What? Spinal tap, that's
Spiral
it. Tap.
Something like that.
To Tank for the win, as Booker talks about impressive Hank and Tank are. I find them pretty bland. Early on, they were inexperienced, high-energy brawlers. I feel like they should have evolved or improved by now. I guess they've added some double-team stuff. I didn't really enjoy this, and the crowd was kind of dead up for the final few minutes. Shawn Spears is doing his NXT version of Jericho, but he's serious instead of smiling. He's helping the young ones by not really helping them, and that's what makes him a heel. Sure. Really a way to get an experienced hand in a match, right, with younger talent. So I get that for the four-way. This was awful. Robert Stone and Stevie Turner, they loved Oro Mensah's story from last week, the one I found super awkward and weird, like just misplaced, I guess. So Mensah will face Bourne tonight, and the two Ava lackeys argue on who will give him the bad news that he will not be going to Heatwave. So it's like, oh, you gave the good news. No. It's awful. My note says, I cannot express to you how annoying the combination of Stone and Turner are. They are bratty siblings looking to tell mom on each other, and it's terrible. Like, I haven't disliked something this strongly in a while. Because they're acting like little kids, and it's like, well, I'm going to tell Ava this, and and you're, what is it now? You're the narc or whatever. Who's the narc now?
Yeah.
So bad. Izzy Dame, Brindley Reese. I asked if you wanted to watch this. You politely declined. Remember, I texted you. Paxley slithers up and pokes her head into the ring, kind of upside down to distract Dame, who almost loses by way of a roll-up. She recovers, hits a Falcon Arrow, and Dame wins in 3 minutes. I guess this is slowly moving Dame to a slightly more relevant opponent in Paxley, if that's what we are getting. So I guess I'm not sure about Dame yet. I need to see her in a longer program and match, I think, to really clarify my opinion, but whatever, she's new. Chase is back to lecturing at Chase U. They'll become the tag team champions again at Heatwave. This is where Duke Hudson comes clean about Holland helping them win their match, and because it's not 2024, I guess, he shows them actual photos instead of just like, here's the video. They're all disappointed in Ridge, but obviously Riley Osborne is not surprised. He's never been a big fan of Ridge. Holland defends himself, says he thinks of Chase U as family. Here comes the Wyatt Six, right? No, just kidding. But Chase makes
only when he turns on them.
Chase makes him stay behind and tells him that his punishment is he will not be going to Heatwave with the group. Here's my note. This was too many adults not behaving like adults for me. Like a whole crew of R-Truths almost. So naive and silly. I'm sure that some people enjoy segments like this, but the whole juvenile tone is always off-putting for me. This crossed over into cartoonish, especially. So I said it was like Power Rangers, so maybe not cartoons, where they're like good guys and they're good. So the fact that Ridge Holland sort of helped is like, oh my God, they were so shocked and upset by this, right? So I can't stand it. So there's no shades of gray to anything, right? It's black and white. We are Power Rangers. You did a bad thing. This is the world is ending.
They're gonna start calling out all their moves as they do them.
That'd be amazing. I would actually appreciate that. Vice and Perez are face to face in the ring. You went back and checked this out.
I just happened to come across it. It was just like, no good.
And I've been the one saying they need to decide if they're leaning into Vice being a face or not. Well, here we go. Perez says that Vice was impressive in her match with Baszler, and that Perez wouldn't last 2 minutes in a match like that, but this is her world of NXT, not MMA. So saying like, fine, you won in that match. That's not what this match is. I get that. Vice then gets into her personal story, summarized big time by me. Her mother and her life. She cries a lot while the crowd supports her. She became a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo and was training for the Olympics, and her mom got sick. She looks forward to calling her mother after Heatwave to tell her she's a champion. Perez acknowledges Vice's journey, but says like every woman in the locker room wants to make that call. Fair point, right? Like that's not special. Vice won't take the title, and it's too bad for Vice. that her rise came during Perez's title run, which I like too. It's like, too bad that because you're doing really great right now, but I'm the champ, so you're screwed, which I thought was cool. Vice says when she rips that title off Perez's arm, she will become the first Cuban-American NXT Women's Champion, and she's still crying. Stare down, Vice hits a spinning back fist to a security person. Vice says that maybe we may be in Perez's world, but when Vice knocks her out, Perez won't know what world she's in. So, they finally leaned into Vice being a babyface after being subtle for a few weeks. Too hard, too fast into this. I love personal stories being woven into wrestling, but this did not work for me. Vice was super emotional all of a sudden, and maybe just like too quick and a severe departure from what she's been doing. It just was all of a sudden she's crying and talking about her sick mom, and like
her crying was more akin to Okada.
It was awful,
like not funny.
But then she didn't do the funny part after. All I know is I wasn't a fan of this segment, but I will say Vice tried her ass off. She has plenty of time to improve, right? This is developmental. Paige has a featured video talking about taking out Noam Dar and Oro Mensah, bragged about taking out the NXT champion Trick Williams during his debut and beating Javon Evans. He respects fellow Canadian Sean Spears, but it's Paige's time. He will become the champion. And he just sounds so confident and comfortable, contrasted with several people in NXT. But that's because he is a polished veteran and not a developmental talent, right? No quarter catch crew backstage. Bourne gets ready for his match. Kemp brings in Brass Knuckles because Regal, and he's trying to get back into Dempsey's good books, I guess.
Regal Jr.
Bourne, again, has a line about not hearing Dempsey, and I don't know how I feel about it. But he's the one saying it, but also somebody's writing it for him.
Yeah, it's just like,
it's awkward,
guess on some level he has to be okay with it, but like, it just still feels so mean.
It is. Right? Like, it's almost like the Shorty G stuff, right? Like, the guy's short, he can't help it. There's nothing, he's still awesome. Like, I don't know. Anyways, Dempsey tells Bourne to use his power advantage in the match. I thought a pretty lame segment, and it's just to show Kemp's on the outs and trying to get back in, and Dempsey's sort of resisting. Eddie Thorpe is he's watching footage of himself DJing at a club, and some women are there telling him what a great job he did. Lexus King walks in and says rock and roll is better. Big riffs and bigger hair is what people want. Thorpe prefers high energy dance music and suggests that King open his mind. So again,
Okada's a better DJ.
Again, adults bickering over which genre of music is better, like they're 12 years old.
That's gonna be the start of their feud.
Yeah, that's like crazy. I don't listen to dance music. I only listen to rock and roll. It's very juvenile. There's a bit of a 2.0 vibe coming through in this show, and that is not a good thing.
We don't want that was a dark age.
Lots of immaturity happening.
That was a dark age.
It was a dark. That's when you stopped. That's when you gave up.
That's what killed me. Yeah.
Oro Mensah, Miles Bourne. Mensah has to help Bourne with his positioning early on so Mensah can land a drop pick. He literally like kind of shoves him over to the right spot. Bourne gets momentarily distracted by Damon Kemp offering the knuckles. And what? And then I said, and Ethan Page after Heatwave, which makes no sense. So I don't know what I was saying. But anyways, 8 minutes, 3 of it during a commercial.
He's going to fight Page after Heatwave? I don't know.
Maybe. With the 5 remaining minutes, not enough here to get into this. Bourne has potential and an awesome drop kick. He's still got a ways to go, and that story with no quarter is just very obvious. Like, clearly Kemp's going to cost him the win, continue to be on the outs, kind of clunky and lazy in its setup and execution. And of all people to go face, Kemp is not the guy. And I get they added heights, so now like they got to bump somebody, I guess, but I don't know. Wesley package ahead of the North American title match with Femi. Has to win. If he doesn't, he's not sure what he'll do. Majorly summarize that. Femi responds right away. He's the ruler destroyer, the mountain that can't be climbed. At Heatwave, he will crush Wesley's dreams. I still think he sounds really good and unique. And I still think he's kind of a tweener, which is hard to pull off, right? I don't know if he seems more heel here because he's facing Lee, but who knows?
Yeah, that might just depend on who you're against.
Exactly. Gallus brawl with Igwe and DuPont backstage to remind us that they exist and have an angle together. Reese acknowledges Brinley with Blade and Anafi. Things aren't working, and basically that if the guys want to ditch her, she would understand. Good Brothers interrupt. They're looking for OTM, and they want a match against them next week. Great. Wendy Chu beat Carly Bright in 4 minutes with that $1 Million Dream submission. Chu did what she does, but this match was just a backdrop for commentary to go on and on about Chu's new character, and it was incredibly annoying. Brooks Jensen update. Did you see this?
I saw Michael. I didn't watch it, but
so we get a summary of his social media stuff, which I appreciated because I didn't know all of it, right? And so basically they say it's Michael saying after his split with Briggs, Jensen spiraled and they asked him to take some time off to recover. They've taken action now to keep him away from NXT, but they believe in second chances and they've invited Jensen to have a sit down with Ava next week. So obviously in real life, you're not going to get a meeting on TV because you're being, you know what I mean?
It's a work.
But I can forgive it depending on where it goes. Jensen needs something new, so maybe this helps him. I don't know. Carmen Petrovich, Jasmine Nix. Booker does a Macho Man impersonation early on for some reason. A JC Jane distraction shifts the momentum to Nix in this. Nix hits a Shining Wizard for a near fall as they cut to Fallon Henley, who does a Shining Wizard, right? I think.
Or she was the one doing the house call.
Oh, yeah, that too. But I thought she did a Shining Wizard too.
She probably has before, yeah, I think. I know that's Tegan Knox's thing.
Yeah, there's a botched near fall where no one kicked out, and commentary actually have to say, referee's discretion. That's why the match isn't over. Okay? Referees just don't count pinfalls when they happen. More Jane interference, distraction Pele from Nix for the win in 4 minutes. And a bit later, Petrovich is with Ava, and Petrovich is demanding to face Nix and Jane, even if it's by herself. And Ava has made Ariana Grace, Petrovich's partner, to face Jane and Nix on the pre-show of Heatwave. So we'll get to see that. Can they coexist? Mean Girls win. Match was fine. Nix needs some seasoning, more so than Petrovich, who looks okay. Jane wearing 2 masks with nobody saying anything about it is funny to me. She's got double masks on and they don't seem to say anything. Nathan Fraser talks strategy with Axiom. Axiom thinks it's about the tag team title match, but Fraser is still more focused on his match at Speed. Axiom says Fraser is unfocused, but Fraser says he'll be focused when the time comes. So it's still telling the story I don't want. I think they need to stay together longer, and I've said it a million times, mostly because I fear if they go singles, what happens to them, right? I mean, more of a chance they're successful under current management.
North American, I guess, or just Speed.
Speed. Fraser is made for Speed, right? Like, that's his thing. Saul Ruka package about her past.
Honestly, if he wasn't so undeniable breaker, is pretty made for Speed too.
True, but they can't waste him there.
They can't, yeah.
So a package about Ruka's athletic exploits and her experiences so far in NXT. She can't be afraid to fail. Others talk the talk. She focuses on walking the walk. She'll leave Toronto the North American champion. And I thought she sounded better than Kalani Jordan here.
But nobody does like Lonnie.
Yeah, that's right. The main event was the Heatwave contract signing. 3 challengers are already in the ring. Trick makes his entrance really quickly. Paige puts over Trick as possibly the hottest performer in WWE before saying it doesn't matter since Trick doesn't even have to get pinned to lose the title. Trick knows his back is against the wall, but he'll win and add this win at Heatwave to his resume. Spears loves Trick's emotion, but it's that emotion that will bring Spears the title. Trick's emotions, Paige's ego, and Evans' age will get in each of their ways. Evans is tired of hearing about his age and points out that he has as much experience holding the title as Shawn Spears does, which I thought was smart. He'll leave Heatwave with the title, and we'll get to see what a real champion looks like. Trick tells Evans that he can't take this NXT title from him on Sunday, and Trick signs the contract. Spears says that if Evans beats Paige, then he can become the champion. Paige says he beat Evans and he'll be the next NXT champion. Spears says he'll be champion. Paige will be disappointed and Evans will still be 20 years old. Fighting starts after this. Trick hits Paige with a flapjack through a table while Evans hits Spears with a powerbomb through the other table. Trick and Evans end up standing tall to end the show. Solid multi-man contract signing. Everyone got to say their piece. Nice balance of heels and face in this story. I do like the inclusion of the super young Evans. He'll get valuable experience here that the vast majority of wrestling fans will never know. It's not like he lost the title. Doesn't matter. Nobody really pays attention to NXT, and they clearly have high hopes for him, so get him in a high-profile match early on. That is it for NXT. We don't have any SmackDown. Has not happened.
Just previews.
All right, so that's what we'll do next. We'll shift gears into our final bit this week where we preview a couple of things. We'll talk about Money in the Bank and NXT Heatwave. So I guess to go in order, we start with Money in the Bank, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I did.
I haven't put much thought into these. So.
I still haven't put much thought into the first one, which is Zayn and Breaker. I'm still not sure who's going to win.
I agree. Am I going first, I guess?
If you want. I'll go first.
Okay.
I have him still.
I'm going to take Sami Zayn here. I just think something's going to happen to deny Braun, and it's going to make Braun angrier and more like killing people and stuff. I feel like they're enjoying that role for Braun right now.
Canada.
And I don't think giving him what he wants helps that story. So depriving him of what he wants helps that story.
Okay,
and Canada.
Agree.
Damn it, I knew I'd talk you into it.
I'm not sure. I don't know. So
I'll take Zayn.
Okay. Then we got Cody or No One's against the Bloodline. I'm not sure which three of the Bloodline it is.
I don't even know if I knew that match existed.
But I feel like they'll win because then you get Solo and Cody at SummerSlam, which I feel like is the play.
So you're saying Bloodline wins?
Yeah.
I think they need to win, and they're an actual group, and the other people are just
maybe we
together.
even get Tala Tonga interfering.
Possibly, right? His debut. Yeah, I think you're right. I'll take Bloodline.
And I just discovered that Rikishi is a fourth son.
Here we go.
We'll never be free.
Smala Tonga. All right.
Then we get Priest versus Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. If Rollins loses, no more title shots. If Priest loses, he's out of Judgment Day.
No more title shots against Priest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure where this goes. Because, like, to me, I don't know if Priest should lose right now, but I also think, like, Gunther Rollins sounds like a better match.
Yeah.
I feel like Priest ekes out a win here, and then maybe, like, Gunther or McIntyre win at SummerSlam. Because I don't think Rollins being a transitional champion is really...
So you're taking Priest?
Yeah.
I agree. I just feel like there's so much attention with Judgment Day right now, and they are such a thread woven through Raw every week.
Then I don't know if Priest leaving the group helps that story or if that's like going to disrupt things. So like I'm not sure what their goal is, you know what I mean?
The flip side would be it seems like Balor's kind of having issues with Priest, and maybe he would feel they're more on equal footing if Priest doesn't have the title, and you could go tell that story more.
But then he's out of the Judgment Day.
Oh, right. So yeah, I don't think that's happening yet. So I'll take Priest.
Okay.
No disagreement so far, eh?
Yeah. A women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm between Lyra and Stratton, but I feel like Stratton just fits the case perfectly. She could have a custom like pink Barbie-esque one.
And they love heels.
I think they like her a lot. So yeah, she can take it from Bayley pretty soon.
Unfortunately, I agree. I think it's Stratton. I think she's ready. It's her time. She's looked good in these multi-person matches she's had, and they like heels with heels with briefcases because they can tease cash-ins a million times, right? So I hate to agree with you, and especially in a multi-person where I could pick someone different, but I think it's Stratton.
Mm-hmm. Last one is men's Money in the Bank, which is, I guess I forgot to mention the only other one, doesn't matter, but this one's McIntyre, Gable, Uso, LA Knight, Andrade, and Mello. I feel like it has to be McIntyre. He deserves his moment, and he's been screwed numerous times for like no reason. The Punk finish at Clash of the Castle is stupid. It could be Jey Uso, but I really pray to God it's not.
I can't disagree here either. I think it has to be Drew McIntyre, even just based on rewarding the guy for the performances, the work he's doing.
The work he did this year, the work he did in the pandemic.
And he's still heel, right? So even though we agree with his stance on Punk, he is still heel, which again, they prefer the briefcase on heel. So even though he's called his shot already, right? You said? Kinda.
Yeah, he said he was going to cash in on the night of.
But he's a heel. He can lie.
Yeah, he's not beholden to
I feel like it has to be Punk, honestly. Or sorry, not Punk. Drew. So I'm taking Drew. Okay. Thinking about their feud.
Then we'll go to NXT Heatwave. The only pre-show thing is the Petrovic and Grace versus Jane and Nyx. I'm going to take Petrovic and Grace because we'll start doing the odd couple tag team trope.
All right, I'll take Jane and Nyx then. We'll have our first disagreement. Just partly for that and partly I don't
because who cares?
No, that's a big the big analysis there is who cares.
Yeah. Kalani Jordan versus Solruka. I'm taking Lani. I don't feel strongly about this one. It's just I don't think she should lose it yet.
That's the deciding factor. Is she just won it and you're trying to build the
title too. I don't think she should lose in her like first major defense.
And maybe not a clean loss for Ruka. I'm trying to think who else could get involved here.
Jason Parker.
I guess so. Yeah. So I think Lani retains as well. Can't disagree.
Okay. Fraser and Axiom versus Chasey for the tag titles. I feel like it's a retention still. I know they're having issues, but I don't think it's like a lose and split here.
Doesn't feel like it's coming to a head yet.
Yeah.
I agree. And Chasey was having problems, so maybe that
we could further their problems.
Ridge could show up and cost them, even though he's not supposed to.
Or try to help them.
Right. Try to help them and cost them, sort of thing. So yeah, I think the face is retained.
Femi versus Wesley, and Wes loses. He doesn't get another shot. I still think that just kind of confirms Oba wins here. I think Wes already had an all-time run with this title, kind of like Cassie did, and I feel like if he wins again, you can't top the first. I feel like he's ready to move up to the main title, and there's nothing for him to do in this.
Either main title or main roster. I don't think they're done with Femi. I agree with you. I think it's Oba Femi retains again.
Perez versus Lola Vice. I'm taking Lola Vice.
I'm not sure on this
because I think Perez has done all she can. I don't think they need anything more from her. She's won the title twice. She's done heel. She's done face. She's faced anyone really worth facing. I don't know what more she needs to do. And Vice is hot right now. You can just have her go heel after this. So I feel like Perez, like, there's not really much more reason for her to stay.
I don't disagree, but I'm going to take Perez.
Okay.
I feel like full face turn and champion, and having Vice be so prevalent on TV and stuff is too much of an ask for her right now. They may not realize that or agree with that, and I may be wrong, but I feel like they're happy with Perez's run and they're going to make it last a bit longer. And Vice has lots of time.
Mm-hmm. Then we go to our main event, which is Trick Willie versus Javon Evans versus Sean Spears versus Ethan Page for the NXT title. I might be gambling here, but I'm going out on a limb. I don't think Trick's title run has panned out the way they'd hoped.
I agree.
His popularity hasn't diminished much, but it also hasn't skyrocketed since winning.
And his
in-ring work needs a lot of improvement as well, and I feel like we could use this match to get the title off of him without him taking loss. Evans could eat the pin since he's still new, so I'm betting on Ethan Page here.
Damn it.
We're in Canada. It makes sense, and Spears ain't getting it.
Same thing, and I think, what did you bring this guy in for? You give him a quick title run, you put him all over TV and stuff and let him talk.
He can elevate
and
that
then you
bit.
go, we can elevate somebody with this and move him up to main roster if you want to, right? Because I don't put Page in the same, like, Spears is basically a player coach at this point and a trainer and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's in there to work with the young guys. Page is different, right? He's a veteran, but in his peak. So I just think he would look awesome with the title and he would carry it and elevate that title, right? So
I agree.
And again, Trick's title run has been underwhelming for us. I don't know if that's the general consensus.
I mean, I was never high on him anyways.
No. But it's weird. His best role was as the guy with Mello who would just add little sound bites into stuff, and that he was so cool and so charismatic, but when it's all just him, it's not the same. No, and I think we've seen that for enough time now to know. So I'm going to say Page.
I think you go back to the drawing board. I'm not saying he's a lost cause, but you go back to the drawing board for sure.
Right. And clearly he can connect with the crowd, so we just have to find a way to and keep having him improve in ring, obviously.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would agree with you. I'll take Page there.
Interesting.
All right. Do you have anything for figuring it out this week? That is going to wrap up this beefy episode. Let's check the time. What's your guess?
At least
2:30. So beefy episode for us, but we've done it a few times, but anyways. So busy weekend of wrestling for us. We'll obviously be at Heatwave Sunday. We're going to try and watch Money in the Bank as soon as we can, although it's Meat Fest down the street, so I'll be eating lots of meats and you'll be working. But we will be back here for episode 208. May tack those things on to the beginning if we don't get around to talking about it before then. We'll be here. We appreciate you joining us. Bring some other people. Tell somebody about us if you think we're doing good work, because we don't promote anything ever. We just sort of exist and hope to organically have people listen.
We just expect millions to come anyways.
That's right. I'll take hundreds, okay? It's fine. But anyways, we'll see you back here next Sunday for 208. And until then, everybody, take care.